Good day. Welcome, everyone. We should be up and running. I'm going to do one quick glance to Rumble. Yep, going live. Good. And YouTube? Yes, awesome. We are good to go. There we are. So, I didn't even look at Twitter. Hold on. I'll give everyone a couple seconds before I do anything. I know I'm looking at something else, but hey, I'm live. And let me pin that. Booyah. Nice. Okay. So we are locked in. I feel weird. Okay. I actually never did that, did I? Hold on. 1 second, everyone. Audio is better than okay. Ooh, I need to change the headset. Oh, that's why. There we are. Okay, now we're good to go. So, hello everyone. Welcome to the channel. My name is TheologyMatters. You can call me Eli, and for my people in District 6, I am the Anomaly. So yeah, it's been a weird week this week. Pam Bondi and Dan Bergino are going after each other because the Epstein list is supposedly non-existent, even though we have someone on criminal charges because of said list. But sure. But yeah, let's see. But yeah, we are going to go into though tonight a big I wouldn't say I won't call it big. Big's a hard word. We're gonna be talking about the defunding of Planned Parenthood, which is a dub. Too bad it's not a capital W, it's a lowercase w. Yeah, kind of bummer. But yeah, so we're gonna discuss that. I have a Lament of a Warden because this has been bugging me, and it's gonna be very I don't know how to put that. Oof. Um, it's gonna be very synonymous to other things that I have written. Good grief, my phone's going off. Very synonymous to other things that I've written or said. But yeah. Oh, and then Riz. We're finally going through the whatchamacallit, the Turning Point. They did a women's conference. We're gonna listen to the snippets that I could get because they didn't publish all of it live. So yeah, that's pretty much the game plan. Is just hit those 3, and then anything else that happens. So yeah, other than that, thank you all for showing up. I am sorry for many of the gamers. I am still building the PC. And by that I mean I'm grabbing the parts for the PC. I'm hopefully going to have it. I would assume by August everything would be here, and then builds is TBD. Yeah, because I'm having a weird July. Because next week I have all the time in the world. Though 2 weeks from now or so, I'm gonna be at the literally 2 weeks from now, I'm gonna be in Steubenville, Ohio for the Catholic the Catholic Creators Conference. So I'm gonna be there for a couple days, but it's gonna take a few days to get from Oklahoma to Ohio. So because of that, I will not be live the 21st or the week of the 20th and the 27th, really, because I think we're gonna leave the 28th, and then it's gonna take 2 days. So might as well be August. But yeah, other than that, I think that's it really of channels. Like, thank you all for showing up. So yeah, if you could hit that big red button though, it says subscribe, and give me a thumbs up. If you're gonna give me a thumbs down, at least write a comment for me. But yeah, we're gonna go into why Planned Parenthood, or why Planned Parenthood getting defunded is not the win that it supposedly should be. So let's get into the story though, or let's go through this normally. But before we do that, real quick, not a sponsor or anything, we got to do the intro. Welcome to the big original idea. Awesome. So the big beautiful bill, the bill that, let's be fair, has some stuff that we're going to just excuse for right now, but it passed the Senate, the House, and was signed by President Trump on the 4th of July. Yippee. And if I sound so excited, well, that's because the rest of the show is going to be depressing. Um, so obviously there was a lot of argumenting going on because Massey and some other representatives, which I'm not passing judgment on them, I'm just saying that that's what happened. It took a while to get the bill get into. Senate had some issues, the House had some issues. The big beautiful bill was signed, as I said, on July 4th, and then of course there was an amendment in there to defund Planned Parenthood, which was a big yippee ki yay. However, in typical fashion, all the pro-life stands are championing that Trump is the most pro-life president, and the Congress. It's like they're doing their job, but in reality, yeah. So if we go to like to show just some of these weird people saying some of this stuff. So we got DC Drano, which is really funny given that um I mentioned the Epstein list. We're still waiting it from him. But yeah, so here he's basically talking about that, Trump, overturned Roe v. Wade, which again I still relate to the courts. Republicans defunded Planned Parenthood, and we'll go into why that kind of is like not actually true. It's like he's the most pro-life president in our lifetimes, except he's okay for IVF, which is bad. Um, but we even get into Dinesh D'Souza's daughter, who I really hate that she has this going on. I'm sorry, but like D'Souza, like I understand Dinesh D'Souza is a name in conservatism, but like this is just sad. I feel sorry for the guy. He's getting cucked and he doesn't even know it. But anyways, she's celebrating and being all like, "Oh, look at this, speaker. He's getting rid of it." I- I'm gonna tell you, all of this is gonna come back to whip everyone in the ass later. And we'll go into why I'm gonna say that. Uh, Joel Berry is yeah, he was happy and then he realized it was only for 1 year, but he's okay with it. I'm not. This sucks. Like this is like I'm here. Like I may be here, but I know that we're gonna be over here. And then we're gonna. It's like a cycle of this. We go into like a cycle of this. It's like we fight, we get it, but not how we want. So we're okay with that. But then yeah, just. And then we have another. I really hate these mega influencers. To be fair, on Twitter. Just as a side, because like him and Drano and everyone else. But yeah, Planned Parenthood is officially defunded. Yeah, defunded. Of course we have Lila Rose saying stuff. Which funny enough, she's gonna be playing more of a big picture here because I did research into our side, and our side is I hate our side. To be fair, that I said that a lot about people, so there's a lot of people I don't trust. So it works, but yeah, Lila all celebrating and be like, "Yay, we defunded Planned Parenthood! Yeah!" Catholic Arena celebrating again the $1 billion, which I don't know where he's getting that number to. Because I think when I found it, it's about half. So I don't know where he's getting the 1 billion. And then of course live action saying that, oh look, they're gonna defund Planned Parenthood, and we'll go into why. But yeah, so whoops, I'm getting ahead of myself. So Yeah. So big win, right? Big win. We should be celebrating, right? Big success for us. We succeeded. We took out the big mighty Planned Parenthood, right? Right? So that's what I'm going to be discussing right now. So I'm going to discuss why we actually took an L, or to rephrase, we are going to take an L. We are just a year. This is a time bomb of 1 year. We're in a year from now. Everyone's going to be having the reverse takes because there's going to be something that happens because, of course, it's midterm season soon. And I know exactly what's coming because Republicans, let's be fair, are kind of gay. And I don't mean, and honestly, sometimes I mean, I meant that figuratively. Some of it, it's literally. Um, so yeah, anyway, so to qualify the victory, right? So what is this victory? Oh, we defunded Planned Parenthood for 1 year. 1 year. 1 year. We have 1 year where taxpayer funding, taxpayer dollars, there we are not going to Planned Parenthood, which is a great, yeah, fair. It's a dub. Too bad it's for 1 year. 1 year. It was initially 10 until the parliamentarian had to basically say to the Republicans, like, if you don't make it uh, a year, then you won't even have the Democrats, supposedly. And so, so yay for us, right? No. So it went from 10 years. That was the initial goal. 10 years. If most of these pro-lifers would actually, I don't know, be pro-life, it wouldn't even have a number. And by that I don't mean zero. I mean infinite. We wouldn't be funding them at all. But no, can't do that. Can't do that. We got to keep our trifecta. Uh, sorry. So the original plan was to defund them for 10 years. It got reduced to 1, and then that passed in the Big Beautiful Bill. So of course, Planned Parenthood started shrieking out. So like to kind of go through their funding real quick. So this is actually from Planned Parenthood. I believe it's from their annual report. Annual report from their 2023 to 2024. So this is a relatively recent date math. So it's about 70%, 17% is towards like donations. I think the 34 is towards patient fees. Government takes up, give or take, about 40, and there's about 10% of just like whatever. Um, so that's around, I think, about 500 million in revenue loss. Even here you can see it's still revenue loss. So this is from actually though from USA Facts, and they say it's 43% is from the government. And this is 2014 to 2015. So this is about give or take a decade old. But excuse me, sorry. But the numbers I think kind of stay the same, give or take. I said patient fees was about 34, that and donations was about 17. So, it kind of fluctuates. Planned Parenthood is operating on more than just grants, right? Like 60% of it without the government is still open, which is not defunding Planned Parenthood. Defunding Planned Parenthood would be taking it out. This is why I don't really consider this a win of defunding Planned Parenthood. Like, yes, our taxpayers shouldn't go. Our tax dollars shouldn't be going to Planned Parenthood. There we are. But this is not like this is not going to somehow eradicate abortion, which a lot of pro-lifers are making it sound that that's how on the trajectory we are. Because I'll tell you, the next uh slot, I'm gonna rip into our side a little bit. Uh, so yeah. Let me look. Hold on. What else did I have? Oh yeah, this came from Planned Parenthood later. Sorry. So Planned Parenthood basically it had to state that it's going to lose about 200 places, which is I believe about 90 of those places. So 180 of those are in uh, states where abortion is illegal. So that's I guess a little bit of a more W. Um, oh yeah, it says right here. But yeah, so this is great, right? Like they're defunding, they're losing cash. That's good. That we want that. However, um, I don't know if it's gonna stay that way. And because it's only 1 year. We don't know what the next budget supposedly is gonna look like. It might be another big beautiful bill plus the amendment to fund Planned Parenthood. So who knows? Wink, wink. Um, but yeah, worse problem though, we have Governor Ferguson from Washington State. He's actually going to cover the losses that Planned Parenthood is now taking. They're compensating for the federal government not paying for Planned Parenthood. So Washington State is probably not going to actually dive any. And I do have to say, like 60% of their business is still alive. So theoretically, um, like 40% of their business is going to like drop, or they're going to have to like cut people. Not necessarily the abortions are going to stop, and the number isn't going to um, drop. It's just the locations. Is it going to probably drop? Sure, but probably not at the scale that we're hoping for. It probably is not going to be a 40% drop. It's probably going to be like 10, and we're going to celebrate that, which is fine and dandy because that's 10% of X amount lives saved, but it's still 90 have died. I'm sorry. I'm going to look at that. The glass is half empty mentality. So yeah, so Planned Parenthood has about 60% of its budget still just from normal people. I heard a rate of 50, and then I've heard a rate of 40. So like I showed the stats with the 40 and 43. I've heard of 50 from a pro-life place. So still again, pro-life or Planned Parenthood is operating in a give or take at least half of its normal budget next year, assuming that they don't get more donations. However, they are getting donations in a midterm year, which people need kind of the money. The the Democrats funding them are probably going to be spending their money a bit more frugally then, because they got to pay for all of their representatives and senators to get in and get power. So now I mentioned, I've been alluding to somewhat this that it's not this victory, right? It's not this great victory because we're gonna lose um for some weird reason, even though we took a W. And so I'm going to go through two different things. So one, and they both correlate to each other. So the first is going to be appeasement, and then the next is going to be the concession. So I'm going to talk about appeasement first. So appeasement, and by what do I mean by appeasement? Well, look at this. This is from Catholic News, or at least I believe this is from Catholic News Agency. Um, so there's Christine Hawkins up here. It's a small but important victory. Cutting an estimated 500. Although she acknowledges it's for 1 year only, so even she admits that we did not get a win-win. Lila is down here. A start, but not enough. The House should restore the 10-year defund they already passed, even though I'm going to go into why that statement is really funny. Why that statement is funny? Because, yay. Because of just stuff. But yeah, then we just get into others, right? It's a very not love bombing. What's the word? Love bombing might be the word, but it's false. I can't think of it. There's a word I'm thinking of, but it's very like we took a W, we're winning, we're happy, this is a victory. Um Although given where we are currently, I don't think this is the win. We should be happy that this is a win. Because mainly this is to appease us, the pro-lifers, for 1 year, so we can celebrate it. We'd be happy because let's be fair, there's a market to be pro-life, and the problem with and Lila Rose and her know it. They know that they can take the boomers' money because the boomers are going to freely give it, supposedly to fight abortion. in reality, they're just stuffing their pockets full of cash, and I've got proof for that. So I'm not just saying it. I got things for it. Um, that's weird that Twitter is or okay, sorry. I don't know why I don't see a YouTube lit up. Where was I? Oh yeah, appeasing the pro life side. So this is for us just to celebrate, to be happy, to be like, yay, the Republicans, they did something. Yay. That's for a year until they have to do something in the next budget, which is going to make all the pro-lifers, including Lila Rose, Hawkins, and everyone else, to be all like, "No, no, why are they doing this? Oh no, you need to talk to your representative," which I think is the gayest thing ever because that's usually what most people say. Of course, this is coming from the guy that wants to run for public office, which is mainly because of the fact that I don't want to talk to people, not because I'm an introvert, but because if I have to talk to you about it, then I didn't get the right candidate. Um, give or take. Obviously, there's some nuance to that, but if I have to talk to you about supporting the unborn, I didn't vote for you. It's like Langford. Langford, I saw something recently. Langford hired some like critical race theory guy or something, and I'm like, well, I voted for the other guy, so. What was the other thing Langford was in chart problem for? It was on Twitter for some reason. Um, what was it? What did Langford do? Balls. I don't remember. He did something that I literally was like, well, I didn't do it. The rest of Oklahoma did. I really hope Langford loses though. Even though I think it's gonna be he's got what, probably 2 more years. Yeah, I didn't like Langford. I understand he's got the personality of like the nice guy, but I think that's the problem is that he doesn't look like a threat. And that's the issue is that he's silent but deadly. And those farts are just top tier. They'll clear rooms. So, sorry. So, what was I talking about Langford? I don't even remember why I was bringing up Langford. Oh well. Um, so I think that was it though, right? I'm on the midterms. Gosh, I don't remember. I went on a tangent. That's why I do roadmaps. I don't do a script because I like going off the tangents. But the problem with going on tangents, I got to control Z on them. Anyways, so now it's 2025. Oh, now I remember. So it's 2025, right? That's yeah, it's right now, 2025, right? This is assumed 2025 into the 2026 budget, right? Now, the problem with that is that more than likely this Congress is going to have 2026 to 2027 budget. Guess what happens during that budget year or before, right? Like this is 1 year away. And this is July, right? In July. Now, what is near July? But what is near July but after July? And the answer is midterms. And now this is why I say we're only going to have it for 1 year. It deduced to 1 year, right? We were trying to do the 10, but we just caved at the 1 because what's going to happen is that we're going to put it back in or we're going to forgo it because they are going to put it back in specifically because they need their trifecta, right? Because the House is really like I think it's what like 4 or 5 Republicans leave and we lose our majority. So it's like we have to stay as a unified front, but that means keeping the seats. Well, abortion is not exactly a very popular belief. Not saying that it's wrong, just saying that there's a lot more people who are okay with first and second, but have a problem with third, which doesn't make any sense because it's basically like killing a toddler before they get to adulthood. It's still bad. But the reason they're going to add it back into is because there's a lot of districts that there are people because not only do you have the rhinos, right, that are in there because uh, they're kind of in purple districts. They're just there, right? I'd throw in Lindsey Graham, but he just got supported by Trump again. So of course, MAGA is so. Gosh, I don't understand the appeal of Lindsey Graham. He just wants to kill everyone in Israel, or sorry, non-Israel. Um, he likes war. Maybe he should, we should send him off to the Middle East. But no, we're gonna. Fortunately, we haven't gotten into a new war. Cheers to that. But we're gonna have to concede because there's gonna be purple Republicans who can't really go hard on this issue because based on their district, they're going to have to just suffer the diminishing of their pro-life beliefs because one, the Republican Party doesn't even stand for it now, so it doesn't really matter. But they're going to have to, even if they're like pro-life on in the primary, when it comes down into like the general, they're going to have to be very like low key with it because some of the rhinos are going to say we defunded it, so that's going to help them in primaries. But what's going to happen to them in generals? They're going to be like, well, actually, we started to fund Planned Parenthood again, and that way they look as a moderate on that issue, and so it's not as big of an issue because it's not the L, right? Because like after Roe v. Wade got overturned, what was Republicans' first instincts after the red wave turned into a red drop? Blame the pro-lifers, which we're already on that track. I saw a tweet about that. I forgot for what, but it wasn't over this, I think. But there was someone saying, it's like, oh, if we don't can this, we're gonna lose the midterms. I'm like, bro, I'm not still thinking about this year. With all due respect, for crying out loud, I have a midterm. For crying out loud, I will have a midterm, and I'm not fretting about it compared to some of these other guys. And I'm gonna have a primary at the very least, assuming the incumbent stays in office. But yeah, so I have a feeling that the midterms are gonna prove, or that the next budget, the pro-lifers are going to, bitch and complain and like be like, why are you funding Planned Parenthood again? Well, I'll give you a reason why I also suspect that is because we've been trying with the capital T, italicized, and with an exclamation mark. So this is House Bill 271. The defund. Hold on. Let's zoom on that, shall we? Let's zoom. Defund Planned Parenthood Act of 2025. Tell me, why is 2025 necessary? Well, I'm glad you asked, imaginary viewer, because there's more. This was introduced in this session of Congress. This is available for them to work on. Guess where it is? That's right. Nowhere. It is literally shoved in a binder, gathering dust. That is where we are. That is where the the Republicans think that this is worth. Yeah, look at this bill. Very simple. Restricts federal funding for Planned Parenthood for 1 year. Oh. Okay, well, I guess it wasn't that bad. I didn't read too much. But let's put it this way. This bill, take out that preposition and everything else, perfectly okay. Now this is just, this bill, right? It's one bill. It's one bill. What's the worst that could happen with one bill? Oh, shucks. It's more than one. This one actually did take out this preposition. Prohibits providing federal funding for Planned Parenthood. And this was introduced. It's gathering dust again. Hey, look, it's from the Senate. And it's the Defund Planned Parenthood Act. Wow. And this is, it was introduced the beginning in January. Why haven't we worked on that? We have the Senate. Wouldn't we do something about that? Couldn't we do something about that? No, we're gonna gather dust. No, why are we doing that? Oh, that's because we have another bill. Sorry, just this pisses me off mainly because of the fact that I don't know. It's been 3 years almost now since Roe's been killed, and we haven't really moved the needle. If anything, I think we've gone back in time. But yeah, so here we have the 2015 to 2016. So this is older. And look, Ron Paul, Senate, introduced, dead. Dead. It's been nowhere. And it's still the same thing. Prohibits the federal funding. Excuse me. Hey, look at this one. Also, Ron Paul, introduced. Let me guess. It's going to be the same results. Oh, hey, another bill from Rand Paul. And like, wait, hold on. How many are we on? So I'm on. So we got one bill, which this kind of maybe goes into the big beautiful bill, but we're gonna count it. So that's one bill, two bills, three bills, four bills. We're on four bills. This is four now that the House and Senate has had opportunities to prohibit the federal funding of Planned Parenthood. Four times. That's a lot. And this one's from 2019 to 2020. So a little more recent. Defund it. Just straight up. 5. Ron Paul again, coming in clutch. Where did it go? Oh, it collected dust. 6. I think you're getting the picture. 7. And theoretically, and these are just snapshots. I got lazy afterwards. This is, I don't think I have, I think I have one of those. I think I have 371. I don't have 128. Which for some reason is Boebert. I'm surprised on that. I'm surprised Boebert actually has skin in the game. Boebert's, I thought she would be shucking off with some other dude because, that's just what she's known for. Hey, look, Ron Paul again. Cool. Yeah, look, 2021 to 2022. Wow. It's like every year Ron Paul, Defund Planned Parenthood Act of whatever current year it is. And this has been available for a while. Guess where it is? Introduced. Let's go. So that is, let's zoom this back, shall we? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and a 9. 9 bills. 9 bills. 9 other attempts to defund Planned Parenthood. 9. And you know what we did? Nothing. We sat on our hands and watched the world burn and watched as thousands of unborn died because, the midterms. F the midterms. I don't care. We have a duty as Republicans, or at least for some of that time, the Republicans did have a duty to. They had a duty to defend life. And what did they do? They let it collect dust because they thought, oh, well, other things are important. Boy, what you saying with that? Gosh. Imbecilic. I don't just, like, when we're talking about, like the pro-lifers are saying, like, yay, we took a win. We could have taken more W's a long time ago, but we choose not to because the Republican Party has nothing to add to this conversation. It doesn't want to get rid of abortion. And to be fair, in the closer, which is coming up, I'm going to talk about whether or not even the pro-lifers that we supposedly follow want abortion to go either. So anyways, gosh, yeah, sorry. This pisses me off and I don't like that it does, but it's like, it's just infuriating to me because I would expect more to be done. Like this is the big win. 1 year. We couldn't defund it for 9 other bills. And mind you, that wasn't even just one session. That's like a decade of time. I think it was the youngest 2015. So it's been about a decade. It's been a decade and we can't do squat. It's like every year we're trying and every year we're failing. There's a problem not with the system, but with the party. But here's the thing though. What is the party consisting of? And this is gonna be the truth. this is gonna be the truth pill that I don't think many people really wanna say. What consists of the party? People. What type of people? The reps, the senators. These are the guys that are proclaiming to be pro-life, and yet they have sat on their hands time and time again. Why? Because they're allowed to. Because there's no threat. There's no threat. No one's gonna compete against them. No one's gonna be able to come at them hard enough to take them on. Or the worst case scenario, no one wants to, which is honestly the worst thing ever, is that no one wants to go after people. Like, I literally just mentioned about Langford, and everyone voted him in because he's the incumbent. Just because he's the incumbent does not make him worthy. I'm just saying, this is awful. That we are, the pro-life people think, oh, we're celebrating, we're taking some wins. We're not taking wins. We're taking some very heavy L's. Like, not only, like, right, we took this win. You want to give me a stats from November to November, right? Like, because, yeah, no, yeah. Sorry, I'm doing the math. You know what happened in November? We lost in 7. Repeat that, 7 places. And hold on, 7? Hold on. Yes, 7. It would have been 8. Would have been 8. And I say that because Florida did a what is it? It needed 60%, but it got 57. It breached the 50. Everything else for state questions and all, there were 10 up. 10 state questions were up. State amendments or what have you were up to get rid of abortion, to add it or whatever. We lost. The pro-life people lost in 7 battles. We only won in 3. One was from Nebraska because we had our own amendment. Florida because they didn't clear it enough, and then I think it was North Dakota, which, let's be fair, is a bit red, so that one was probably clutched up anyways. I did a video about this a little bit ago about it's somewhere in my videos about I'll just hit it up. Let me find it real quick cuz I don't do too much, but I do enough. Oh, the March for Life. I think that's what I did. Yeah, the March for Life 2025, the pro-life movement fails again. I thought I did another one like this. Da, da, da. I swear to. Oh yeah, Trump wins while the pro-life suffered 7 losses. I want to say I went through some of that. So, like, I've been covering this type of stuff for a while now. Like, I've been looking at the pro-life movement and what we're doing, and post Roe, I think we need to change the game plan. I've been saying that for a couple times now, but I totally think change the game plan and change the people. And the reason I say change the people is because, well, we're going to go into it. Welcome to the closer, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the closer. Our future steps. What are we supposed to do now, right? Because let's be fair. I think I can make the case that the Republicans during the midterms, I have high suspicion that during the next budget, they're going to not remove Planned Parenthood's funding or add it next year because of the fact that they've got to keep some of the Republicans looking purple because they can't make them too red or else they're going to lose them, which is a cop out. Let's just agree to that. Now, so the first point I'd say is we are definitely alone and pitifully weak. Pitifully weak. So, because let's be fair, we're taking some like L's because we took some L's prior when Roe got killed. Then, of course, even now we're taking some currently. So, like, because Lila Rose, the great Lila Rose, said, and I did this in the other video 2 weeks ago with Lila talking about Roe v. Wade, I think. Or did I tweet this? I tweeted this. I just tweeted this. And if you're not following me on Twitter, I would definitely say hit the follow button. I think I'm literally getting 17 of you just from Twitter. So thank you all. That's all I've got is Twitter, people. That's funny. But she says here, this tweet right here. 3 years ago, Roe v. Wade was overturned. We have 13 states have done it. They have banned abortion. 13 states. The math is 26% of our states. We're not even a half. We're barely the half of a half. We're a minority. Like, if I said you had a 25% chance, or sorry, 26% chance of making a shot, you probably wouldn't take the shot. If you told anyone you have 1 in 4 chance of actually doing it, they might be gutsy, but let's be fair, those odds suck, especially in the context of what we're talking about with human lives. Lives of babies who have, yes, a will to live and a right to live and breathe, but of course, nah, gaining. But yeah, but like even here, Lila, this is from Catholic News Agency. Where was it? Yeah, major step before permanently taking out Planned Parenthood's budget. No, it's not going to be. It's not going to be taken out. Nah. I already went through the fact that it was brought up to appease the pro life because it's a tit for tat. That's essentially what we're in for. And if anyone really wants to and if anyone would say that it's not, I'd gladly like to hear why you would think that. But I'm totally going to think that it is going to be just that. We are going to have to shut up and take whatever is going to be given to us because that's what the Republicans are going to give to us because they're going to promise us later stuff. This is like a domestic violence situation. Sorry. I don't even know if I could say DV, actually. I have to say DV. But it's like, this is like a DV situation we got going on. It's like the pro-lifers keep coming back. And then we get our ass beat by the Republicans. And then, like, we come back. Then we go to the police, which is just Twitter. And then we go back to the Republicans. That's actually a really good, analogy. And it's so bad at the same time. But so, yeah, gosh, sorry, but it's like, I was saying this of how this is so weak that it's like because we're gonna have to take the L later. They're gonna give us the W's and be like, "Good boy, good little people," and then they're gonna hand us an L and say, "Well, you got the W, so it evens out." But what I think is funny is like I brought up Lila Rose, right? And I had to be like, because, like, I give flack for Lila because I feel like she's because there's a lot of people, like, even, like, the religious hippie and Lila, and I w Franco, he's a little less, but I will say, like, excuse me, Lila Rose and, Christine Hawkins and, the hippie, it's like, I can tell from just, like, those 3 and others that there is a market. Just as there was a market to be anti-Pope Francis and even for him, there's now a market to be pro-life, to then talk about the pro-life and stuff and to get money to be pro-life, but not necessarily help the pro-life. And the reason I'm going to allude to that is because I want to take a look at Lila real quick because I after I saw this, this is going to have to get answered from Lila because this is ridiculous. So I went on to because I've seen this before, but I haven't found out where it was. But I've seen other people say she makes a buttload of money. Which, she's in California, so, like, I understand she's probably gonna need some more cash than me in Oklahoma, like, 6 figures here comparatively in Oklahoma, or 6 figures in Oklahoma is probably a good number. I have no idea what that would translate to in California, but, California's California, which I have to ask, why is she there for live action or whatever if she's, paying X amount of cash because, she's giving donations and whatnot. She's getting given money from people. It's like you would think that she would want to make sure that the most money is spent for the necessity. And the reason that I'm saying like I don't trust Lila is not even just because of the stuff that I watched. And because like Lila, I do think is a feminist, and I'll fully admit that in front of her face. I probably would not say it as I would be saying it right now, but I will definitely be alluding to it because I do not fear Lila. Because honestly, with what I'm about to show, I don't think she. I would get Lila away, and from any pro life stuff, I wouldn't listen to Lila when she's going to talk about some stuff. I know I hit a site that was like the dark evangelicals, but like I found real things. So because Lila is technically running a nonprofit, so she has to file a form, tax form 990. So the tax form 990 is for a nonprofit. Well, those are available to the public. And so there's a site, non publica, I think, something around that ilk. If there was a huge problem, like, hold on, let me just hit this and see if let me hit live action and then do it, and let's see if it pops it open. ProPublica. Sorry, ProPublica.org. ProPublica.org. I found this. This is from 2023, right? They make about, let me zoom up. They make in revenue about $14 million. That's a lot of cash for pro-life agency. Just that's a lot of cash. They make most of that in contributions. Now, expenses, I understand with some tax forms because I took a class in college that had to deal with kind of like assets and the depreciation and stuff. So like when their net income may be negative, it might be that they're monetarily equal, but they lost value in like the office in like the house they bought. It lost some cash, the land depreciated or something like that. Or it could just be inflation too. But yeah, you can see from this, and this is available at ProPublica.org. Like you type in live action and it will show up. Students for Life is also there, which I also looked at because Hawkins is no better. Hawkins is not as bad as Lila. Lila's worse, which is funny because I thought that would be flipped. Because Lila at least acts feminine. Hawkins is a bit bulldoggy like. And given the video that I will be showing later, kind of proven right on that scenario. But we go down. Yeah, you see this compensation. Oof. Right here. Lila Rose, president and founder. Top line. The top line, right? Compensation. What money is she making? What money could she possibly be making? Oh, there's a 3. Oh, you can't see squat. Sorry. Hold on. Okay. Oh, there's a 3. There we are. She's making 3. Oh, too late. She's making over 4. Let me zoom into that. She's making almost 40. No, sorry, not 40. 400K to do pro-life work. What? What? We are 26% abortion banned, and she thinks 40K for her work. For crying out loud, I don't think she needs 40K. I understand she's got what? Dang it, I forgot to look that up. Hold on. How many kids does Lila Rose have? Hold on. I thought it was just 2. She could have 3. She's only 36? Dang. Oh, she's got 3. Okay. She's got 3, but she's got a husband, I think. Hold on. Early life check. No, where is it? Personal life. Oh, she's married. Joe. She's married to a Joe. Oof. I'm not saying that's nothing. I'm just griefing. But yeah, she's got 3 children, a husband who probably works more than likely. So, and then of course she's got the podcast, Lila Rose Show. So there's more than just that 400K. So when I say 400K, I can actually probably say 400K. So she's making a lot of cash on you. She says she does all this work for you. And she's ranking in the green, for crying out loud. That is almost 4 people's. That's 4 fairly well-equipped dudes' salaries. That's 4 6Ks or 4 six-figure jobs. But here's the thing. That's that year. We don't even know what she's working for now. I can tell you what she worked for in 2022 because it's also available. This is why I hate, like, I can tell so many people. Sorry, hold on. This is inside, but I'll come back to it. I totally hate so many people in some bits of the content creation realm and just the activacy, because I can tell you can tell who's being honest, who's there to actually fight, and then who's there just kinda to collect a paycheck. And it's just sad because it's like because of course, I'm gonna be okay, envy kinda showing out here, I won't deny. But, like, I got 65 subs on YouTube. I'm got 17 of you on, so thank you all for being on, but, that's a lot. That's a lot. 17 of you, that's impressive. Uh, 17, Twitter, I'm on, like, 80 Twitter things, unless that's changed in the last 20 seconds. Um, and then Rumble just started out, right? And I have nothing going for me. I don't have, Balance of Nature sponsoring me because I think that's just weird. Just eat your vegetables. Like, eating a salad is not hard. Um, I love that we talk about being natural and our stuff, and then it's like, yeah, hey, take these pills of crushed up, uh, drugs or whatever. So I don't care if it's natural, right? There's a lot of people that say it's natural, but it's like a lot of people have these, sponsorships for all this stuff, and then of course they do literally nothing. Like, it saddens me that that is the way that politics is of now, where it literally is, don't care about you. It's just what is profitable because money is king, and that's a huge problem in the world. Um, and just gosh, I hate this. I hate this. I was finding this out, and I'm like, this is bullcrap. And like, legitimately, this is bullcrap. Because here's what I was showing Lilo's 20. So they made about what was it, a billion more in profit, right? Net income is still negative. So again, that could be some depreciations. Excuse me. So of course, most of their funding comes from people giving them funds. So one, I'm going to tell you because I'm going to show this. Please do not give your money to Lila if this is the case. If live action is going to spend this money in this man, if Lila is spending this money in this type of way, I don't think she deserves a cent. Like, if you're going to spend your money, and I'm gonna throw that this is boomers because I just presume that it's boomers, Gen X. This is more of you because I feel like a lot of Zoomers are either receiving those type of funds for reasons or the millennials. If you're gonna do this, I rather you if you're gonna give like, $1,000 or something to live action, I rather you give $1,000 to me because at least then I could pay for some like flyers and actually like get into office and then actually take abortion on instead of Lila who makes, a YouTube video and thinks that that's fighting the culture. Um, we haven't even gotten to our into the statement that the number one hated statement I have that beats, funny enough, happy wife, happy life. But anyways, Lila made 280,000. She gave herself a six-figure raise in 1 year. Now, I assume compensation is a salary payment. I just would assume that that's the case. She's getting paid. She works for the nonprofit, so she is paid for that work and thus has a salary. So it's just like, wow, like, wow. Lila thinks that she's a big dog on campus, and that's honestly the problem. Is that somehow we as a culture and we as pro-lifers have elevated the wrong people, in my view. Because I don't think Lila, like, what has Lila done? Honestly, like, I asked this question, and like, I'd love to talk to her, or if somebody really wants to defend Lila's honor, I'd love to do that. Honestly, like, if Lila wants to have a conversation with me, I don't think she's gonna win, but sure, I'll have a conversation with her. I'm not going to California though, not because I'm scared of confronting her, because I just don't want to go into California. California is California for reasons. Like, if I wanted, like, that's like going into like downtown Tulsa. I it's like going into the middle of Chicago with a lot of cash. It's like I could do that, but I also don't want to. So, gosh, and Lilo's no, Hawkins. Sorry, wrong person. Hawkins is no better. You look up the whatchamacallit, her stuff. It's like I think she's getting paid almost 200 plus. I think she's getting paid 280. I think when I looked it up last time, you can look them up. Those things are just available. That .org site is available. You can look it up right now. You can look it up, and you're gonna find that Hawkins is taking in about 200 or 280,000 or so. Now, true, she is the only breadwinner because her man is the stay-at-home dad, which let's be fair, all men are looking at him like he's a beta, which he probably is. Which because I love Osa. Like, I know, like, what was I watching? Candace Owens was surrounded, and she was talking about feminism and how, like, she has her job and she's able to, kind of take care of the kids because she's in kind of a unique scenario where it's like she can kind of do both, which I don't think that she should do both either. If you really take a full trad, feminism is a bad in all forms of the other. But, you know, Lila and Hawkins are probably doing the same thing of like, oh, I work, but I'm also family. And then they talk about how great family is. It's like, women, you ain't with your family as much as you could be. Like, it always reminds me every time I think of a working woman, the only thing I think of is Marley and Me with Jennifer Aniston's character, which I don't think she meant to play such a base character. But in the Marley and Me, whenever the first kid is born, she says this one line, which is it's kind of a throwaway here and there, but she gives a reason of like why she's just kind of tired, and the reason that she's tired is because when she's at work, she's thinking about home. When she's home, she's thinking of work, and so she's like, I need to kill one or the other. And of course, she kills the work, which is the baller move. But again, I think Marley and Me is based on a true story. So bravo to the I don't remember. Man, it's been a while since I watched that movie. It's been a while since I've seen a lot of movies, but so anyways, so did I get that all pitiful and weak? We're weak. Pro-lifers are weak. Like we are like we're abused, but that's a different story. But yeah, we're 25% of the states, so 13 are actually getting rid of abortion. Oklahoma, thank you for doing that. I understand there are some abolitionists who think that we haven't gone far enough. I do agree we need to get rid of that pill, which I'm pretty sure is in our Congress currently. I don't know where it is currently in the status, but you know, reps are going to do what reps are going to do. There's only so much yelling you can do before they just shut you up. Excuse me. So before I get into this next one, I just want to talk about the idiotic statement that Lila posted. So she posted on July 4th. So the day the bill was about to be signed. She says this one sentence, and this sentence I hate. I hate more than happy wife, happy life, because, well, that sentence is just gay, but that just, and I mean that in quite literally the gay way, because you're you're not the man of the house. But Lila says this one line that I hate with very much a big passion because it's just it's an excuse to be lazy. It's an excuse to be passive and just to let things go. And the line that she says is this. So she talks, big jamble of, but to achieve our goal. Okay, so Lila, again, who makes about $40,000 this year or last year, to achieve our goal. Oh, to save the unborn, what must we do? Oh, wow, this must be great advice. We must change hearts and minds and ban the killing. Kind of hard to ban the killing when you're a podcaster slash nonprofit founder, leader, whatever. Can you actually change laws? No. Why is that? Because you don't want to. Because you think that it's someone else's problem. You think it's someone else's duty to fix. It's a rep to fix. A big strong rep. He can fix it. But yet she sits on her hands and watches everything crash down. Now, I'll be fair here. I don't think Lila should be going to public office, because not because I think that she's corrupt, but because she's a woman. But if she's going to take this job, might as well put her in the politics at that point. And here's the thing, because like if she wants to save the unborn, she can have a very physical mode onto that, right? She doesn't have to just be the leader of the Students for Life, right? She could actually, do something real about it, right? She doesn't just have to walk around and change hearts and minds. She could actually get down to the law, which is why, and this is where I got to this conclusion a long time ago, is there's only so much changing hearts and minds until it becomes inefficient that you're just going to have to say, let's go. We're going to war. Deal with it and fight. That's the whole reason why it's like, I wouldn't say, like, this is where I am very fortunate. And this is where I say that I'm very different than most of the other political pundits, because while most political pundits, except for maybe like Nick Freitas, I think if I'm saying that last name right, the other political commentators, they all talk into their mic and that's it. That's the most work they do. They do some research, they talk about some stuff, they'll mention some stuff. They might do some journalism, they might do some Project Veritas stuff, right? Excuse me. But like, on a whole scheme of things, they're not going to do that much, because the law is just going to be what it is. They're going to maybe talk about, oh, the big beautiful bill, we shouldn't be accepting that, or Planned Parenthood needs to get defunded, we need to talk about that. But you're talking to reps who are elected by, thousands of other people, right? You're talking to all these reps. They have the power. And you're stuck in your cubicle saying we need to do X and Y. But if you wanted to do Z, oh no, that's too harsh. That's not my battle. And if we get into the low, the Lament of a Warden, I'm gonna even get it more into this. And I hate that my closer and that are gonna be sounding very similar. So I want to do one thing though. So I need to open up a video. I want to show a vid. So let me half screen this actually and flip. So, sorry, who were we talking about? So I was talking about Lila, right? But Hawkins did this video, I think a little bit ago. So this video clip is only like a minute long, and I'm gonna go through it somewhat because we talk about this changing hearts and minds, and I say that it's like bullcrap because it's a allowance for us to just be lazy and to allow the problems to stay existing. I think to be fair, I think some of this is the fact that I'm an engineer, and so I have 2 degrees in engineering. For those of you who do not know, so of course my brain's a bit like solve the problem because, well, that's what I've been trained for.
We know Planned Parenthood.
Oh gosh, sorry, gosh. As I said, bulldog. She's loud and aggressive, and it's like great. Just wish she didn't sound like the witch from Banjo and Kazooie. Actually, I think she'd be more pleasurable now that I think about it. Especially post post beautification. I'm throwing a really old reference. It's like 3 decades old. Banjo Kazooie, OG, a lit game. If you haven't played it, you should. It's like Donkey Kong 64. It was a really good game. My childhood basically was that because we only had the Nintendo 64 for a while. Yeah, my brother knows. He has the 64, and but I have Rare Replay because of the Xbox. So, but yeah. But anyways, I'm gonna show this though. I kind of forgot somewhat why. We're still in the marketing of like changing hearts and minds stuff, but
We know Planned Parenthood isn't just killing 392,000 children a year. According to HHS, they are now the leading distributor of wrong sex hormones, which are sterilizing gender-confused young people.
I just want to point out that I hate these type of events purely because nothing happens. Like, even like I went to a Catholic men's conference. Let's be fair. You're gonna be there. You're gonna do some things, and like 1, 2 things might stick out, but you're not gonna remember the entire thing. There's not gonna be some change, miraculous change. Like there is, but it's like what 1% of people. But like at a scale of 1 to 10, how effective are these? It's just a means for us to show up and be like piety signaling. Doesn't really change anything. Like she's talking a lot of smack right now. That's it. It's just smack. She can be deleted off YouTube, Twitter. No one's no one's gonna care because she's not gonna do anything. There's nothing like Hawkins or Lila are doing. I would say that is meaningful in the way of impactful. They may write and do some things, but it's like on a scale of 1 to 10, nah. But let me play the rest.
A $1 billion corporation where they're very.
I love how she just talked about billions of dollars, yet they literally get the live action has gotten $14 billion, and then they've taken. How much is that actually? Hold on. So we have 14 million. Let's see. So that's actually the wrong way. How do I flip that? There we are. And that should be times by so we said she's making 300 and she is making holy crap, she's getting almost 3%, a little less than 3% of that contributions go to her paycheck. Wow. That's a lot. Given that she also makes, billions. Or was it millions? Millions, sorry, not billions, millions. So yeah, so I don't know how much Hawkins really wants to throw around that, they're spending their money in ways. We're spending ours too, girl. And you definitely you may be not as bad as Lila, but still bad.
Own clinic directors reported to the pro-abortion New York Times of having open sewage and filthy conditions inside of their clinics, complaining that instead of even trying to pretend to help women, they spend their money funding Democratic politicians.
Oh, they're not helping women. They're funding themselves. Sorry, hold on. Premature, but they're just funding themselves. I don't think she realized like what that would actually mean in that way, but okay, before I move on though, one, I need to set that out. Hold on, let me go to whatchamacallit. Non-public it's having an issue for me. Okay, hold on, we'll find it. What was I wanted to look at whatchamacallits. Excuse me. So we're doing Students for Life. That's what we're looking at. Excuse me, not live. Shut up. Thank you. So Students for Life of America, they have made, according to 2023 filings, I think. Oh, this one was filed in the 24. So it's 23. Yeah, 23. Whoops. Hawkins makes 280K. Oh, sorry. That's 850, 80. She makes about 320,000. So she's actually coming close to her counterpart. I will say one thing. I know I bashed Hawkins like a year ago because she kind of looked big. I think she slimmed down. Too bad she's still loud. I still remember the time she went after Destiny, and I actually felt sorry for Destiny because he had to deal with her. Yeah, I'm not fighting with her. I just have a feeling she'd just be I feel like she's got to stick up her ass. But anyways, let me finish off the vid.
So now, The Republican-led Congress must finish this fight so we can move on to our next step, which is government debarment of Planned Parenthood. A process will strip them of 100% of their taxpayer funds, making them unqualified for even a penny of our dollars.
Oh no, how dare them. I literally just went through it. We had a decade of them try and literally just introduce stuff, and that's it. It collected dust. They introduced and was like, hey, here's the bill. You know what the Republicans did to it? Spit on it, threw it away, lit a match, sent it to Mars, which I didn't even know UPS did that. And it's just, yeah. So big surprise. Now I looked at the event that she was at because because of course I'm kind of saying stuff because like to just go to the rally, it was free. There's a gala during this thing. So there's a rally and a gala and kind of like this like conference thing going off at the same time. $350, $250 for the ticket. That's just for the ticket. You're not including travel, food, the whole shebang. Like if I take a look at how much, like I don't know where they were, but if I take a look at probably where they are, it's probably going to be at least $400 to get to Washington, I suspect, from where I am. And I'm in the middle of everywhere. I'm in Oklahoma. So I basically, whatever my rate is, it's an average rate, I would assume. Because it's like going to California is halfway. So it's like if you're on the other side in the East Coast, it's going to be kind of halfway. Because it's like if you're on the West Coast, it's going to be one value. And so the median should just be my value. You know, that's, let's see, you spend what, give or take $250, you spend about $300, that's about $500 or so. I'm pretty sure I looked up a political site and it told me like it could send me about, if I get about 6,000 flyers that are 3x5, I think. No, actually, sorry, 7x5. I can get about 6,000 of those for about $500 for a political campaign. Like yours truly, right? And it's like you spend all that cash doing it. Like when I was talking about this March for Life, we all went to march around the Congress. What did it do? Oh, we got 1 year. We spent about $75 million and we lost all those races, right? Like this is what I'm saying. Pro-lifing, the market here is saturated with funds because they show pictures of dead babies and go, we need to stop this. And so then you give all your money and then they spend it with the maturity of a child. Sorry. I'm mad at this one because like out of every other issue, this one just pisses me off more than the others. Like if you want to suck at the guns, sure. You want to, I'm trying to think of other issues. Like if you want to kind of suck at the budgetary, sure. But like this issue, it's not just your life. There's another life that doesn't have a voice to speak up. And what are you using yours for? Oh, that's right. A $400,000 paycheck. Hey, Lila. Gosh. And what's funny is even if I probably added her and all, she probably wouldn't do anything to this. She'd probably just like block me or something. Even though it's like, that's a lot of cash, woman. Like that is 4 guys. That's like 4 guys with 6 figures, which or 6 or 8. 8 is if you go for like a minimal. Minimal I think is like 50. That's needed to like live. I understand inflation and our stuff has changed things, but gosh. But it's like this is all the marketing of the pro-life beliefs, and it's like they get all the cash and nothing changed. Like we spent all this cash. They get millions of dollars. And they can't do squat with it. Except supposedly education, right? Because that's the whole big shebang. Is that, oh, well, we just need to change hearts and minds. You know how long that takes? You know how how harder it is to change the heart and mind? You know how easy it is comparatively to change the law? You just need a majority. Which is probably far easier because you just make the law. You just need the numbers. Like, if I'm in the House, right, I only need about like 50 Republicans who actually are like conservative, and we could pass whatever we want in the House. We got 51 guys. That it'll be 51-50. We'll win as long as we stay as a united force. Like, for crying out loud, even in Oklahoma, we have, I think it's like 20 Democrats. So there's like 80 Republicans. So it's a 4-to-1 um, disparity or ratio. We could lose 20 Republicans on a bill. It wouldn't matter. We're still 60-40. That's how red supposedly Oklahoma is. Although I don't know how many people in Oklahoma are red or how many are conservative, and there is a distinction. And so, like, why do I bring this up, right? Like, obviously, I stated that we kind of suck. We're alone. We're pitifully weak. Like, this is our leadership, right? Like, because if I say, who do you think about in pro life work? More than likely, you're going to say something like Lila Rose, Hawkins, especially if you're younger. If you're older, I'd be interested to know what. Like, honestly, guys, I know there's. Hold on, I have a view. There's 22 on you on Twitter. Write who you think. You don't have to at them. You don't have to do that. But like, if it's someone I would know, like if it's like Lila, type in Lila for me. But if it's like Hawkins, write Hawkins. But if it's like some stranger who I'll never know, even if you write their names, just make it vague. But if it's someone like I type up their name and I'll know them, do that for me. Like, legitimately, give me some names of like who it is. Because if I see like 6 Lila Roses, then we're in an issue. But like, this is the problem that we're in. We suck. We got 13, like, to read Lila's own words, we got 13 states that are only banning abortion. There's supposedly my numbering was 19. I was working with a number of 19 because that includes about, I think, 6 states who are banning it partly, which I'm going to at least accept because at least it's something. Because of course there was all that red of that we're not doing anything. So that's, like, we're not even 25. Like, if it was reversed, I think we would be doing good work. But the fact that we are suffering in the battle because I think we're spending too much time on minds and hearts. And I don't think hearts and minds are what we should be focusing on. I think we should, but it's a effect, not an effect. It's a side quest to what we do as our main one, which is to change the laws. Because we can talk about changing hearts and minds, but most of this stuff we can deal with changing laws. Now, changing laws again requires some leading, right? Like, because I know in Texas, I think there's about 125 reps, right? Texas is a big state. I wouldn't doubt it. It's probably 150 actually. But it's like, if you get 78, let's say 80, let's up it to 80. Let's say there's 80 reps that are very pro-life. Let's say I got 80 Gen Z guys in here, which I don't. But let's say 80 Gen Z guys in Texas ran for state house and they won. Because according to Oklahoma, all I have to do is be old enough and to live in the place within the district before I resume office. That's the 2 requirements. There's only 2. The age fulfilled that a long time ago. The living place, just got to ensure the realtor knows what he's doing after everything. But it's like in Texas, let's say there was 80. You could change the laws. You could get the pro-life bills passed the House. Now, of course, you got to worry about the Senate and the governor. But, if Abbott isn't going to do it, make sure you do it during an election year. So that way, if he doesn't do it, well, people can vote him out. Just make sure you do it before the primary. Because if you do it after the primary, he's not going to care. Because he's going to be the Republican at that point. And which I also did rag on people. I did another video a long time ago talking about people's voting records. People don't vote. And that's sad. And this is why I don't think there's some reason that people are trying to add in Oklahoma same day registration or for voting. That's dumb because I'm like, if you can't register beforehand, then I don't think you know what we actually what the issues are. So I don't even think you should vote if that be the case, if you are too lazy to actually be voting. Which is kind of a downstream problem that we have in our culture, is that people are somewhat. I'll talk about it in the low. I'll be getting there. But like, we just have to be. I say this. We just have to be brave, unequivocally brave in our pro-life beliefs. And it doesn't matter with what. Like, I have in my roadmap Trump threat. Why? Because of this. So during the big beautiful bill, Senator Tom Tillis went against Trump. He went like Massey. The only difference. So the thing about Massey compared to him is Tom quit. He's not seeking re-election this year. Why? Because he pissed off the orange man. And is that a bad thing? I don't know. Honestly, I think it's fine. I don't particularly like Trump. I think there's something fishy going on, but I don't care. I skipped something. Oh well, it's fine. Lila's got saved because I'm lazy, or because I'm blind. But it's just idiotic to me that or sorry, I'm thinking about something else. But with Tillis, he ran away from this. He's running away from this fight. He had a stance, and then Trump was like, "I don't think that's right," and he immediately caved. Yeah. If you want to, the definition of beta is Tom Tillis. That is his his definite the beta. A definition of a beta is Tom Tillis. Because he couldn't even stand against Trump. He just immediately fled and was like, well, MAGA's coming after me. Let's be fair. MAGA isn't exactly the smartest bunch in the tool shed. And this, because of course, this is coming from the same people who talk about the Epstein list and everything else. So, Trump isn't the savior everyone's making him out to be. And I learned that quite a bit ago. Like, 2016 Trump has not arrived in 2024 Trump. And hell, for crying out loud, 2020 Trump hasn't shown up. I wish they did, but they don't. But that's where Massey is just, he stood up. He went against Trump. He stood his ground. He still voted no on the big, beautiful bill. The big, beautiful bill passed, but at least Massey has his balls. And of course, his integrity, his honor. And I think that's where we're going to have to be, because like, we're going to just need fighters. This is the simplest excuse that I can give, is we're going to need some fighters. There's nothing that we can do without people running for office. And the thing about running for office, though, is I also need you all to vote them in, because I also did the math in a video I did. Gosh, what was it? Let me look that up since I'm here. So I did a video, the issue of primary challengers and MIA voters. And the reason that I did that video is because I noticed that in Oklahoma, there were the generals and the primaries, there'd be more people voting in the generals, which is, of course, just normal. But you take a look at the rate, it was like less than 20% of people who were in the primary. Yeah, people who voted in the primary made up 20% of the general. So there's 80% of supposedly Republicans who are not DOA, MIA. We don't know where they are, because they won't show up in July or June. They won't show up in June, nor maybe even August, because there were some runoffs. But they'll show up in November. Count on it, because Trump needed my vote. But my local state rep, nah, because it's really hard to make change happen if we keep electing the same incumbents. It's kind of hard to get rid of Lindsey Graham if no one's going after Lindsey Graham. Gosh, I'm looking this up. Hold on. I said this, but hold on. Lindsey Graham. And we're going to look at his Ballotopedia. Just 5 seconds. I better see, if I go down here to elections, I better, holy crap, that's a lot. Okay, well, thank you. Yeah, okay, so Lindsey Graham, South Carolina, you're coming in clutch. There is many for a general. And holy crap, that's a lot of people. Okay, so yeah, so there's no, she's a Democrat. There's Catherine, nope, female. Give me Andre Boyer, Mark Lynch. One of those has to be something. Um, wait, is this a woman? Oh no, that's a guy. Andre. Oh, sorry, Andre with a tilde. Ooh. Oh, he's the lieutenant governor, I guess, or was. Okay. Well, there's that guy, and then whoa, Mark Lynch. Oh, he's an evangelical. Mm. Sorry. Oh no, he was in the state senate. So okay, so there are some guys who there are some guys who have been serving their state. So I hope that South Carolina does the job. But we take a look at the primary for what was it, 2020? Let's see, what does Lindsey Graham have? So he got 55%. So he got oh gosh, he got 68%. Because he got about 320,000 votes. The highest guy after him got 80. Wow. Okay. Although it was 2020, and I'm not saying that there was a certain event going off where certain ballots were multiplying. I'm saying that it was 2020 and some people were just not active because it was 2020. But yeah. So, but it's like Lindsey Graham. He got confronted by 3 people. He's being, I think, confronted by like 2 now. At least Republicans, right? That's just of Republicans. And of course, I'm going to mock it from a Republican view because if a Democrat's having to take you out, um, I'm going to shake my head and seriously question why. Because if we have to outsource to a Republican or a Republican duty to a Democrat, I don't know if the guys were a Democrat then, because or at least he better not be, because if that's be the case, then Trump or Musk might as well set up his new party if that be the case. So now, why am I now? And this is why I'm saying it's like when I went through the voting records, there's only like 20%. So realistically, in the election between me and my dude, the incumbent, Rusty Cornwell, for District 6 of Oklahoma, theoretically, assuming my math holds to midterms, which it may not, only 20% of the actual people in the district are going to be voting. And more than likely, it's going to be the boomers who I kind of may be pissing off here and there because I'm a young guy who's going to be saying some of the problems are caused because future generation or past generations couldn't do anything with it because they were too busy being gay. And I mean that because of contraception and legitimately. Or divorcing themselves or caring about themselves and having a lack of humility, because for crying out loud, the Canadian stats are just appalling. That graph that was shown, I literally showed the graph during the boomer mentality stream. There was legitimately the boomers were so concerned about themselves that their highest concerns was piss off Trump, improve the health care, and then the highest one, other than for the boomers, who was piss off Trump, everyone's highest concern was reduce the cost of living. See, the boomers only cared about themselves, pissing off Trump, and then making the healthcare better. Why? Because they're using it more than most people. So that's why I say I need fighters. Like, we need to fight. And that means some going into it. Like I literally said tonight, I got 2 degrees in engineering. I know how to problem solve, but not politically. That's not where I wanted to go. But I'll go where I need to be because we got problems and we got to finish these problems. Right? So that's essentially there. And I'm going to be repeating it in about 20 seconds. But before then, but I would say that's it before I move on to the low, because yeah. But it's like, what, like, we can't change the laws unless we have people. And that requires people to actually have some balls and stand up. But, you know, I I'm not confident. Like, even during the political, or the presidential election, I didn't like anyone. I didn't. Vivek felt like a snake. DeSantis got them the bad people, so that infected him. Trump, I think, hired, like, for crying out loud, my conspiracy theory is that Trump is actually involved with this. Um, funny enough, today's the anniversary of the Butler shooting. I think he paid the sniper off because it makes sense, because the enemy wants to make the enemy of us wanted to make him seem like he was the enemy of you and that they hated him so much, but in reality he was perfectly safe. They were always going to graze his ear or maybe hit him in the shoulder, something he could have walked away from. But yeah, but I'm just seeing things, aren't I? But yeah, there's, my gut right here. My gut clenching and everything else. Yeah, it's just nah, I'm just doom speaking, right? Totally. Mm. Anyways, uh but yeah, that is going to do us for the though that portion, the lies that we are being receiving. So, yeah, we'll move on. I'm just going to need a quick second. And then we'll move on to the next section. But yeah, just gosh, sadness. Like, I hate that this is how, like, the pro-life movement is like we can't get things done, and part of that is because we need guys. But I'll get into it. The low is going to have a brief mention of this. So, uh yeah. Let me cue that up then. If I'm going to do that, then nope, don't do that. Okay, thank you. That wasn't what I intended, but cool. So, yeah, anyone have anything they want to write? I know you're all on Twitter. I don't know how you all saw me today, but that is the 22 is actually the highest number I've had. So, thank you for that. I don't know why you're spending your Friday with me, but thank you for spending your Friday with me. um, but yeah, and if your Twitter people could help me out on the YouTube, and hit the sub and the sub button, that would help me out. Honestly, moving over to YouTube would actually be very nice. I would somewhat like to be monetized, but you can stay on Twitter if you want. I'm perfectly fine with either. Excuse me. So, I'm gonna move on then to the low, and the low is gonna have. I don't know. Do I really want to do it today? I kind of was getting into it, so. Yeah, I think I will. I think I will. I think it's needed. It's on point. So I'm gonna get on to Lament of a Warden. Okay, so thank you all for enjoying that intro. Excuse me. Mainly because I spent time making it, so I hope you all watch it. Also, when I chop open the show, I also um, I watch for it because the video I get after this is hours long, so it's like in the cap cut, it's taking forever for it to buffer to where I'm clicking, so it's like I'm able to find this places. So, but yeah, so I wanted to talk about this phenomenon that I don't think um some people want to talk about because there aren't people like me to be able to talk about it. And I say me for what reason? So now why do I bring up so I mentioned on the channel already, and this video even, I'm running for office. I'm running for state rep for District 6 of Oklahoma. And I'm doing that as a guy who's got a degree in aerospace engineering, another degree in mechanical engineering, right? 2 bachelors. I got 2 bachelors that I'm not going to be using in the proper way that I thought I would. Um, and I honestly kind of hope not, because I want to make my state better mixed with I want to make the world better. But to make the world better, we need a better people, because the world was just a canvas that we've painted, and we've painted it with horrid colors. Um, if you want an example, we got the Middle East to just stare at. Um, but it's just this thought kind of spawned because I've kind of talked about this before. In a video I also did, funny enough. I hate that I keep repeating myself on some videos, but there was a video I did talking about forsaking sacrifice, because it is a word that I do not think is thrown around in very many political pundit circles, mixed with um, even like the religious pro-life side. No one is really talking about it. And what really started this thought was a guy's tweet about the TLM. Now, I'm not going to go into, like, I know I'm an Resorto guy, fully admit that. I love the TLM. In the way, like, if you like it, fine. I don't, or yeah, I wouldn't say I love it. I say tolerate it in the same way that TLMers tolerate the Resorto. It's just whatever you like, have. I don't care. One way or another. Do what you will. I'm cool. But what I get on is that there was this I think convert revert, and am I gonna throw his name? Yeah, I'm gonna throw his name. Mike Pentel. He's on Twitter. He does some bodybuilding, some fitness stuff. And what I noticed is he started talking about the Resorto fatigue that he had going off, which, to be fair, happens to all of us. Happens to me. It's just part of life, right? It's like even prayer. Prayer can sometimes feel fatiguing. Sometimes it doesn't feel like prayer. And not in the way that it's very like holy, but in the fact that it's just meh. It's just like you did something, but it wasn't really hitting. And so he was dealing with this kind of, it's like I'm going to Resorto again. And so he went to the TLM. And so still talking to the same tweet. So he went to the TLM with his family. Excuse me. And he went there, and while he was there, he got kind of like out of the funk, which cool. But then it's what he said, and then it's what he was doing after that I'm looking at kind of funny. Is because he now is going to take his family always there, because he's tired of the boomers and the not heresy. What word am I thinking of? The irreverence of the mass. And while I agree there are some masses that are just straight up like, what the crap? Now, of course, there are some, finicky maneuvers over, like we can get into it, like we'll ignore the conversations over whether or not female altar girls are really that bad and other stuff. But as I said, move on, because that's not really the point of my conversation. But we're dealing with some of these problems, right? And so, and that's fine. If you want to go to the TLM, that's fine. I think leaving your parish to, sorry, ahead of myself. So there was a person who wrote back to him and said, well, if your parish is suffering so bad, why don't you try and send a message to your priest, get on the parish council or something of that ilk? And Mike sends something which is so antithetical to what his mission supposedly would be, his brand of building masculinity or building masculine men. And he said something around the lines, because I couldn't find the tweet afterwards, because if so, I would have shown it. But he sent something more or less the lines of, well, that's too much of a burden and not something that I need to deal with. Which is why we're in the scenarios that we're in. This is why the unborn are being killed. This is why there is so much strife in the world, is the fact that no one gives a crap to do. Because And it's just ironic to me because it comes from these very, like, heavy-handed people who talk about how being a true man, right? Like, even from Catholic sources, where it's like they're very Christ-pilled, they know what they're talking about, and yet they're the most effeminate people on Twitter. And it's sad because they supposedly are these great masculine heroes, but they act just like a woman because, "Oh, well, it's not my problem, someone else's." That's such weak behavior, and especially from someone who supposedly talks about how to be a true man. He runs away from the fight, and I understand, like, some people, like, will throw in that it's like, "Well, I've got my family," and it's like, "So does everyone else." You can't walk away from that. We all have families. Now, whether or not we have, we're in dad or we're in son roles, that's up for, maneuvering, but we all have families that we want to care about. We have someone that we're wanting to love, and we're just on that track 24/7. So to say, like, it's not my problem, like Spider-Man in the first movie, is such a just antithetical, as I said, to um the masculinity, right? To be like, how do you be a true man? And it's like, it bothers me because these are the type of guys who have these kind of leads in public, right? Have these type of followings, and yet the most the guys are saying is to then talk about these things, but it's never to actually do anything about it. And I think that is such a huge issue. I was on with so I was watching Just a Catholic. He was doing a live stream with a Catholic Christian. Um and they were talking about something at one point, and I wrote, sacrifice has been neglected in this age. Even the trads are guilty of it. Because for some reason, to sacrifice yourself to a stranger is seen as unworthy. And I don't like that behavior. And I think that's why we're in the situations that we're in, is because of the fact that no one actually gives a lick about anyone else. No one can actually sacrifice for a complete no one because there has to be some angle, right? And it's just like it's so weird to me. Because it's like, especially because they talk about being a true man. But a true man fights for his family, but he fights for good, right? He fights for what is good, honest, true, what is honorable, but he runs away from the fight like a scared little girl. And it's just like, this is why I hate when I see some masculinity guys talk about how to be a true man and, like, I can help you become a better man. It's like, some of you guys are, I wouldn't say gay, but moving into that territory. And it's just, I just hate that. I hate that type of um that that masculinity, the fake masculinity, the brazenness of being online. But when it comes down to real life, it's like, no, they ran away like cowards. And it's like, you have all these big muscles, like especially with like Mike, right? Mike is a big muscular guy. I'll admit that. Mike is muscular. He could probably beat my ass. I fully admit that. He could probably beat my ass. I probably should work out more. I've been meaning to, but like I obviously am not the best guy, right? Like I'm 5'11", I've got height and a little bit of oomph and blubber, but I'm probably gonna get taken out by the guy who's probably been doing jujitsu for all his life. But it's so funny because this guy who's so prepared to like beat my ass is the most weakest effeminate dude when it comes to actually like fighting for the good, right? Because if like I was saying earlier in the stream, talking about, hey, I need fighters. I need more guys in the government. Like like in Oklahoma, I need about 60-ish guys to join me. Like if I had 60 Catholic dudes who were devoted to the church, very orthodox in their belief, conservative, and were willing to join the conservative fight or fight for their state rep seat, It's like we could all band together, we can all form a formation, and we can actually get things done in the House. Now, of course, we got the Senate to deal with, but there's more people because I can't even touch the Senate. I'm only 23 going into, 25 by the time I'm in, I'll be 24 soon. So I'll be 25 at that point, I think. Yeah, 25. I'll be 25. I need to be I think 30. So anyone 30 up in Oklahoma, hey, you want to run for Senate? And we band all together. And we can change the government going down its path. Now, of course, there's going to be a governor as well. But Stitt's out of office. Oklahoma's primed for a takeover in this way. We just need enough guys willing to stand up. And the reason that I made to kind of get back onto the point that I was making prior, is again, I said Mike is a big guy. He could probably beat my ass. But then he's scared of Susan from parish council. And it's like, I'm the guy that could probably get beaten to submission. But yet my spirit is like a dude with muscles. Like literally he just pumps one. It'd be the SpongeBob joke where he gets a muscle and then the muscle gains a muscle as well. Like that's the type of behavior. Like Mike looks like he's that type of guy. But then it's personality wise, it's he ran. But then there's me who looks like you beat my ass. But then my fight, I'm going to be like Glenn. I haven't watched The Walking Dead, but I'll be like Glenn. Sorry, not really spoiler alert, but I'll be like Glenn. I'll be after one hit in the head, I'm still going to beat your ass. Or at least I'm going to try. You may hit me again in the head, but at least I'm fighting. And I'm going to go down fighting. And that's what I wouldn't say what I want to do. No one really wants to go down fighting, right? No one wants to really go down either. But it's no one wants to engage in the fight. They have all these big muscles, but it's you do not have the spirit that coincides with it. And it's how sad is that? That so many of these men are being tutored into how to be, alpha males. But they don't know, their teachers don't even act alpha in the first place. They'll leave the world to rot because it's not their problem. It will be their problem when the government's on their door. This is one thing I started. I had an argument with one guy about this. He says the way that we'll defeat the left is by outbreeding them. That's kind of a hard thing to do, or that's kind of wrong because the left keeps stealing our children. They keep killing theirs. They take ours. That's how we're in this war. Their marketing is very efficient. And the only way that their market is efficient is because they have the power that they do. Why? Because we allow them to. And I don't even know, sometimes when I'm doing this show, I do worry that I'm saying something that my opponent later in the election is going to come after me with a pitchfork for. But if what I said was wrong and it seems wrong, I want you to look at my face afterwards. If I get caught in doing something and that I said something wrong, let's say I said, I'm tired of my voters or something. Let's say this gets cutted and it's literally my voters are the worst type of people ever, And if I, scrunch my face in a weird way and be like, what the hell was that? I want you to trust that my heart is in that fight more than what my words is. My words may be confused, but my heart isn't. And it's this is why, it baffles my mind because I don't think we'd be in this problems of all this hell that we're in if men actually weren't even just, alpha, right? There's a lot of men who say I'm an alpha male. But they don't know the first thing about being even a man. And that's just sad. And it's just and it's infected even trad circles, right? That's a traditional Catholic stuff. For crying out loud, I literally took this. Let me pop it up real quick. I took this. I had to bookmark it because I saw this from Timothy Gordon, and Timothy Gordon does. Excuse me. Good grief. Does work in kind of the feminist movement. He's been taking on the feminists. I've almost finished his book, but I did read it, and it was a good book. I do agree with Gordon on a few things. There were a few I disagreed with him on, but he writes this, and it's just like it kind of makes the point that I'm bringing up of that we are such a like in Wall-E, we're basically the people on the chairs just watching and getting fat and just watching everything, happen around us. We're too busy staring at our screen, just focused in, and we're not actually paying attention to the fact that, we were supposed to go back to Earth, probably a few years ago or something. It's been a while since I watched Wall-E, to be fair. But Gordon posts this tweet. Sorry. Posts this tweet. So it says, so this is John Henry Weston, I think. Is that Western or Weston? I think it's Weston. So he does a life site. So I'm not even going to get into the life site debacle because I've heard things and other things, but so he got voted out, right? Now, I don't know why he was getting voted out. To be fair, I will admit, I think that he was voted out probably because of his anti-Francis views, and they're probably hemorrhaging cash because of that. Because maybe everyone's taking a pro Pope Leo, which I'm not saying that's, which again, like that's at least what I'm saying, because LifeSite was a little bit on the anti-Pope Francis marketing, like I mentioned prior. But he says totally what I thought happened. Catholic Inc. strikes again. This is why we need dads with a webcam who don't have to answer to a board. That's what we need. To fight the world, we need more podcasters. I know, unironically, I'm saying that. I know. But and that's why I say I'm probably the only guy who can actually say some of this crap and it not be reflected back onto me, because of the fact that I'm both here and not at the same time. I do this, but my true purpose is to be in the state house of Oklahoma, because that is where my purpose is. That's where I want to make my impact, at least for the 12 years I can do, unless I get that removed, because I think that's another part of the laziness behavior. We leave people in here for 12 years in government, but then their replacement is chosen and it's a new person, but the same evil is still there. That's why I think term limits are evil. I don't think term limits help. Age limits, on the other hand, I'd agree to. Term limits, some of it is that, people just need to fight, right? Because term limits, it kind of takes out people. You don't have to fight the incumbent. Laziness, right? No fighters. Where are my fighters? Again, we're coming in the same scenario, and I keep hitting on the same objects of that. We are living in a society where the sacrifice and the responsibility of taking the fight on is just completely removed. And this is why I've said multiple times, and I didn't tonight, and I wish I did, like I am now, but beforehand during the closer, is that I need a lot of Gen Z guys to join me in this fight. I understand. Cards were dealt to us, and we can't take them all again. I wish we could. Suck it up. If not, I'm sorry that we are bad. We have been dealt a bad hand. But you know who's going to be dealt a worse hand? Alpha, Beta. You want me to continue? Because you think Alpha is going to be any different than Gen Z? Alpha is probably going to, let's face this, Alpha may actually hate Gen Z for being the boomers of their age, which is going to be sucky. You know why? Because I'm going to be looked down because y'all can get off your ass. I don't want to be the boomers of what generation would I have to be? Beta, Charlie, Delta, whatever is coming up next. It's I don't want to be like them. The Zoomers are complaining about the boomers. It's I don't want to be like them then. And that means that we need to be engaging in this fight now. This is why I think it's weird whenever I see some Gen X boomers decide to run for politics all of a sudden. You had your shot to do it, but you let the world continue. You built your empire, and now that you're all good and ready to go, you're ready to now make the sacrifice when everything is concrete. You don't have to worry about losing the election or not. You're fine. You don't even have to run for office. You could retire, but nah. gotta get that government bucks. 50K sounds pretty promising. And it's just, I just like this masculinity. Like, we have these masculine guys who talk a lot about being the true man, but they don't actually want to be the fighters that they need to be. And maybe it is a little non-selfish to focus on your family, but I feel like you should also be focused on others. Because, like, even with the trads talk about, oh, well, just going into the grid, going off the grid and stuff, which is distance from everyone else, which is walking away from the problem. It's the same as within Resorto. It's too big of a concern. I don't want to fix the parish. I'll just let it burn. But I'll go to the Resorto or TLM, and it will be better there. I go into a different paradise because the hell I'm in isn't worth fighting for. Then what fight is worth? These type of guys, I feel like, would say, you have to pick your own fights, which is another line I hate. It's probably my third hatest line. I hate that line because it's just an excuse for us to be lazy, to be cowards. And that's why I hate that. I hate that line. I hate it. I hate it with a passion. I hate changing hearts and minds, happy wife, happy life. And then, of course, I hate that line that I just completely forgot. And I said like 20 seconds ago. Wow. Oh, pick your own fights. There we are. Yeah. I hate that line. Pick your own fights. That's just an excuse to be lazy. It's just an excuse to walk away from the fight. Because if you're going to pick your fights, tell me, honestly. Hold on. Let me do this right. Honestly, tell me. Are you going to pick the fight that you're losing? Or, well, are you? Would you pick the fight that you're losing? Would you pick the fight that seems like you are the light brigade and your enemy is pointing 500 guns at your chest? Would you take that bet? And the answer would probably be no. Unless you're crazy out of your mind. Or ballsy. And that is what is the problem with some of our society, is that we have gone away from the sacrifice of a responsibility, because we as men have a responsibility to make the world a better place. We have a responsibility to make the world better, not only ourselves, but our future children. We have a responsibility to fight because that is our duty as a man. Do not, like, why is there women politicians? Some of that could be because the guys won't want to run. Because they're too scared of a ballot box. Ooh. Like, I meant to write a few more points than what is being said, but I'm actually like off the cuff doing this, and it's actually not that bad, I think. It just baffles me that, like, especially the right, wants to talk about being true men and how to be masculine men, but yet when the fight is on our doorstep, I don't think that we're going to fight. And, like, I thought of, like, how I could describe, like, how I would be. Because obviously I'm dishing off a few people. It's like, okay, well, then what am I supposed to be like? So, for all the flaws that I hear that The Hobbit gets, I want to talk about the scene from The Desolation of Smaug. So, they get into the mountain. Big shocker there. They get into the mountain. And then they find out that, of course, the Arkenstone, Bilbo has it, but then they're running around because Thorin came after him. The 13 dwarves are all sneaking around, and they get to the back door, I guess. And they find that there's like a host of dwarves just dead. The door is closed. It is shut. It was made by those who are dead. Sorry, I said one line and I had to say the other. But they're done. They can't fight against the dragon, supposedly, right? This big bad Smaug. They're too scared to face him, and so they're running away from their issue. And so then they see that they have no choice but to fight or to starve. And that is when Thorin starts talking that he is not going to be waiting for his death. He is not going to be watching as the 13 dwarves succumb to starvation and eventually die under his eyes. But he agrees to fight at the end. When everything is against him, he does agree to fight Smaug, even if it means defeat. And that is the attitude that many young future politicians need to be taken into this fight. Is that, yeah, we're going to be fighting Smaug. I'm probably going to be fighting Smaug. I know it. I think he's got about Cornwell. I think he's got like 50K waiting in wait. I have 0. I have whatever anyone is willing to give to me in order that I can do my job. And that I can do multiple things for Oklahoma, which even that list is changing too. But, like Thorin, we have a choice either to fight and die or to sit or fight and potentially die. Because, of course, what did Thorin did? He lived. We either fight and potentially die or we sit on our hands and watch the world burn around us. And I can't let that happen. I won't let the world burn around me. I just can't. I can't watch as everything that is good and honest in this world burns when I have the power to do something about it. I won't. I can't. It's gonna hurt. It hurts me more than probably it hurts me deep. And I think that's gonna be a detriment at some point, but it's just it hurts me that we are in the places that we are because there is no one to fight off the evil. And it's just it gets to me because we got to fix these problems. Like I'm just right, like we gotta, and that means maybe taking the steps to fight off this evil, and that may require the steps that you don't want to do, but I'm with you there too. And that's why I say when I talk about this, I'm probably the only guy who can actually say this without getting thrown back. What about you? Yeah, you throw back. What about you? I'm gonna tell you, come and join me then. Sacrifice, duty, thrown away and neglected in an age where it's needed. And then on top of it all, I always think it's funny. I also think it's funny. Every week, the TLMers and Resortos, we always hear about, well, I guess the TLM dependent. But we always, especially in Resorto, we always hear about the sacrifice of the mass, right? Sacrifice. God gave himself up for us so that we may live. Wonder if that is any translation into what I'm speaking about now. To give oneself over to another for no reason other than out of love. Maybe there's something to that. And the fact that the 23-year-old is saying that is kind of weird. I hate my brain some days. So anyways, excuse me. That is Lament of a Warden. So thank you all for that segment. If you'd like to say anything else, you're free to send something. What is that? I know we're good. But yeah. Other than that, I have to do it now or I don't do it at all. Okay. It's only, 15 minutes? Yeah. Okay. I meant to. Oh, that's bad. That's fine. But yeah. Well, if anyone has anything that they want to spill, there's finally someone on YouTube. Hopefully it's not me accidentally. But yeah. Excuse me. Good grief. But yeah. So I think other than that, then there is the raw impressions. There we are. Yeah, raw impressions. So we have whatchamacallit, the videos from the Turning Point feed, the women's leadership. What was it called? Hold on, let me find it. Have it somewhere here. So we had there we are. The Young Women's Leadership Summit. So we had a lot of speakers. So I collected the clips. I took out a few because I didn't want to deal with some of these, because some of these people I just honestly don't know. So I compiled them all into one source. Source? No. I compiled them all into one video. So I kind of forgot what is what at this point. Yeah, flip. So we're just going to look at it, and hopefully this isn't something that after this, I don't know what else to really do. I kind of want to save Epstein for later, the Epstein list for later.
Everything
For just whatever comes up. I'm not going to do that. Yeah, this is better. They're not going to show anything, so it's fine. But yeah, unless anyone has anything they really want to say or ask, I believe on Twitter you can do things, so. But yeah. Oh gosh. Sorry, hit the volume on something else. Okay, so, well, I'm going to go through this. So this is Miss Kirk. This is whatchamacallit, his Charlie Kirk's wife. So this is gonna be interesting to what she's gonna say, because especially after her man at one time basically said, what was it? Oh, he talked about video games, which I don't know what it is about like that, but it's like, oh, video games, how dare they? It's like there's more problems than that. But let's see what she has to say. This is about 15 minutes, so it's probably going to take us about 30ish minutes, and then after, if there's anything anyone really wants to throw in or say, you can totally hit the chat. I should have everything here. So if anyone wants to say anything, if not, that's fine. But yeah, let's see what Miss Kirk has to say.
Changes. When I met Charlie, that was it. I could care less about the career. It was a beautiful moment. And that's why I just want to plant the seed of encouragement, because motherhood it's not a pause. A lot of people think it's a pause. In your life, it's a launch pad. It's not something where you feel like, you wasted your degree. You're not wasting a degree when you're raising your children with wisdom, love, and truth. That's not wasting a degree at all. Mothers are culture shapers. Their legacy.
Okay, that may be a new clip. Sorry, I just compiled them all, so I have no idea when one starts and one ends. But okay, that was actually very orthodox, I think, if I heard it right. But yeah, because well, we'll get into it. But yeah, that was pretty orthodox though, because that's like stating that she's just with her kids. Although I don't know why she's here then, but we'll move on from that.
Builders, and no government can outgovern a righteous mother, and no platform can match the prayers of a righteous mother. It'll never match up.
So I know she says this, and she means like mortal mother that's currently earthly mother. But if we're gonna talk about a motherly prayer that is quite powerful, just Mary, did you know?
And I never want you to think that when you have a family, that makes you in a position where you can't be what God has called you to be. It's the exact opposite. When you become a mother, that is what God has called you to be. You were never meant to audition.
Okay. Yeah, she worried me for like half a second. But yeah, she ended it where she was supposed to. So good on her.
For your own worth. Never. You are not a backup plan. You are not a placeholder, and you are not a maybe. You are definitely not someone's emotional experiment. If he won't pray with you, if he won't lead you, if he won't honor your purity or envision a future of serving God together, let him go.
You would never get that type of if this was flipped, the genders, you would not be getting the woo. You would have to do something. You would have to make a joke. There's no way that we would be doing this type of behavior. But I love though that she says, like, if he is leading you. Well, we also have a question over, whether or not she will let you lead. Because, and then of course there's like, well, there's the girls, because there's been some Christian girls on Twitter that have been writing. It's like, I'll only submit to him if he does, X or Y. And it's like, the X and Y are not exactly supposed to be included in that submission. It's, you are married, that he is required, you are required then by that to then do the submission. So yeah, what did she say? Pray, purity. Yeah, all those are perfectly fine. But the submission part is going to be kind of funny because Turning Point, of course, has a few women that aren't exactly the most submissive women.
Let him go.
What advice would you give to young ladies where they are much more motivated than their boyfriend?
Okay, I remember listening to just this one because so these are all raw, so I have no idea what's coming up. But I remember hearing this point, and I was like, "Damn, this question's loaded." Like this question, like walking with a Roman candle in the middle of a fireworks stand is less loaded than what he just threw. He's like, "So what do you do if your man is a hobo and you are a strong you are a strong independent woman and your man is a hobo?" It's like, that's such a charged question. And it's so like, and of course Kirk, being the man that he is, right? He of course, what great wisdom can this great dude who thinks for some reason, because the Bible says we must honor Israel because, thing. So I'll send it back a couple seconds just so but gosh, good boy. What are you gonna say, boy? You're such a good boy. When they got home, she was like, "You're such a good boy. Who deserves a little patty cake?" Gosh, I hate that. I hate that type of, yeah, she's talking about submission, and then it's like, what if you're better than the man? If he says anything around the lines of that, what if your man is better than you? Then, if he says anything about leaving or like, just be a prick and aside, it's gonna be funny. Oh.
To young ladies where they are much more motivated than their boyfriend. How many of you have this problem? Raise your hand.
Boyfriend.
It's a big. I think it's a big.
Oh, whoa! Okay, this is why I said this question is charged. Hold on, we're at 202. Okay, look at it. 1, 2, 3, 4. What the? There, you see this one? There is a hand that is straight vertical. There is no like half-hearted, like there is no half-hearted like, oh yeah, my boyfriend's a slacker, or like, yeah, my boyfriend's kind of slacker. These women are probably the most dicks of a women because like because of, oh, my man's a sucky dickhead. Honestly, bro, I don't know if she would be worth it if that'd be the case. It's like, oh yeah, like she reported you to the authorities. Good grief, bro. Like, look in the top left, right here, right next to the stage. Like it breaches the line of the stage. I don't know if y'all can see that, but there's that hand that is just straight vertical. Like, good grief. She goes down. I think she'd be saluting Hitler. But 1, 2, oh, I see a 3. I think there's a 4. And there's a 5, 6. Okay. I'm seeing about 6. There is one girl here. There's the girl, so in middle, right in front of so if you take the vertical from Erica down, there's a red shirt hand up. Go to the right of her and she's giving a hands up. This is the girl that is honest but truthful. But she also knows not to call out her man. You see this woman that y'all can't see because I'm circling other people. But that one girl that's got her arm like vertical. Nuh-uh. Gosh, that's sad. Okay, I'm gonna zoom this back just so I can watch the hands go up. But wow, bro, if you're with the girl that has her hand this way, I'm gonna tell you, I'd be weary. I don't know her, but that attitude is sus.
Young ladies where they are much more motivated than their boyfriend. How many of you have this problem? Raise your hand.
Ooh, that's tough.
It's a big. I think it's a big problem.
Yeah.
Now I think
there was a few more. Okay, this is why I say this question is loaded because it's like, what if you're more motivated than your man? That's such a loaded question because, like, she may not even know that he's doing half of the crap that he is. He might be like, it's 11 p.m. here. If I said like, oh, I'm working upstairs and, I'm doing this, right? And this is essentially work for me. It's like, it'd be like, oh, he's not doing anything. It's like, I'm doing other things, woman. Like, oh, he's just on his computer. Every time I go up, he's playing games. And it's like, yeah, well, part of that is some streaming. And part of that is I did like 4 hours of work and I need an hour. Oh, but gosh. You know full well she raised her hand and some girl looked at her and was like, you need a better man. Okay, I'm going to let Kirk actually speak before I eviscerate him, if I am allowed to.
I think that you should both be motivated, but if the woman is much more motivated than the man, would you agree that ends up causing structural issues?
Right, because the man then ends up leaving his pants on the ground and the woman has to put them on. And so then she becomes the breadwinner because then
Okay, I hate this scenario for the major reason of he takes off his pants. So, okay, one, I thought that was going somewhere completely different, just FYI. But if I hate this notion that if a guy takes off his pants, that for some reason the woman then has to put them on. It's a choice. You put on the pants. It's a choice. Women, you don't have to put the pants back on. And that's the issue. They just admitted to some feminism. Holy crap, Kirk's face just looks so... Oh, that's gonna be... I'm gonna meme that. Sorry, hold on. I'm I'm screen grabbing. Sorry, what should I call this? Beta Kirk. Yeah. Gosh, that face he's making is just golden. But I hate that notion of like, well, if he's not going to be a man, then you need to be it. It's like, no. She needs to have her place and knows not to go beyond it. And if he's not going into his place, then she needs to discuss to him that he's not in his place. And if he's not going to take his place as the head of the family and whatever, then dump his ass. Like, this is boyfriends. Just kick them out. Simple as that. But no, you got to put your pants back on because we need you out working. Okay.
the husband's just chill and is like, I'm fine with not going any further than the level that I'm at, while the woman is aspiring to be more and more and more. So then you become uneven and unequally yoked in your relationship or marriage, and that's just a recipe for disaster.
It becomes disordered. Young ladies need.
Okay, so I think we're on a new clip, but the one thing I love is she says, like, women are doing more and more. Okay, I like to point out, though, it's like most house projects are probably started by women because they're like, oh, we need to, we need this, we need to work on this and other stuff. Some guys will probably buy one thing and stay with one thing forever. And then it's someone else wants to get on. So I don't like this. Like, the woman's always looking for something better. She needs something to occupy herself. She can't just like stay home. That's why there's a bunch of single girls on like Catholic Match and other stuff who keep writing, I love to travel, which just means I can't sit still and have a family. Sorry, a little bit angry at that one. But it's like, I hate that. I love to travel. That just means that you can't like stay home and do nothing. You always have to be doing something, which is bad, because if that be the case, like what I read from that is you don't want to stay home and take care of the kid because that's all you're going to be doing that day. And that just tells me that you don't care really about the family in that way, or you're not at that point yet. So, and I'm not saying that like, she's a slave to the house, right? Like she's got to go to Walmart and get the groceries, Probably not. I don't think that's where you all were thinking it was going, but she's getting, obviously there's going to be some time that she's going and doing some other things, and that's fine. Like I'm not going to brag her on that. But yeah, this was a loaded question. But hold on, what was she saying before? Okay, we're at 240. But like there's uneven footing, yeah, because you've made it, woman.
I'm at, while the woman is aspiring to be more and more and more. So then you
aspiring to be more and more. Well, again, we would have to ask the question of, okay, well, what are aspirations and what are within our mark and what isn't? Like, is she wanting him to do more than what he actually can? Like, you don't just throw in this vague statement to be all like, oh, well, these guys need to get their act together. These guys are probably the ones who are unironically talking about, all these guys, have 35 playing video games all day. And I'll be fair, I'm a gamer, but even I can't game all day. I've got to take breaks, not because I have a bladder, but because I just can't game that long. I'm a gamer, and even I admit it, and I'm Gen Z. Like, let's see, what was it? I probably played Batman Arkham City from like 8 to 5 during finals week because I didn't have to do anything other than take a final. But that was the only time. During the week, I already played an hour. During the weeks, it would be like an hour, if that. And it literally was an hour. So, this is why I say, like, any boomer that mentions, like, oh, you shouldn't play video games, totally out of the loop. An opinion devalued.
Become uneven and unequally yoked in your relationship or marriage, and that's just a recipe for disaster.
It becomes disordered. Young ladies need to be willing to submit to a godly man.
I was going to celebrate, but then he added the godly men. And I'm not saying that... Okay, let me be fair. Well, okay, godly is going to be very, like, subjective in that way, because if you're saying the man, like, if you are married, that in this hierarchy, the man has a higher place over the woman. That is just a fact. It doesn't matter if he is a godly man. That is how the hierarchy and that is how marriage works. Now, he does not have the authority for you to do evil. So, like, if he tells you to get on the pill or something, he doesn't have that power. But I don't think that's the version Kirk would be talking about here. But yeah, but he says godly, and godly is very subjective because it's like, okay, well, then that means, can he sin? Because that's how some girls do, right? And this is why it's very feminine coded right now. But it's like some girls write some stuff that I am like, do you realize that marriage is supposed to get each other to heaven? So that means men are going to have their faults just like you are going to have your faults. And unlike the girls that are telling you, like, no, you're perfect queen, we're going to be like, could you quit being such an ass? And of course, then we're going to get in the doghouse. But don't, yeah, I just read some of these, godly men. It's like, if a guy's working on becoming a godly man, that's fine. But I feel like some girls, especially some influencers, try to make it seem like if he sins, drop him. And it's like, no wonder y'all are single.
When you meet one. And if you're not willing to do that, then you got to pray about that. Because a lot of young men in the dating pool say, I don't want to be bossed around all the time. I'm just telling you what I hear from men all the time. The hyper-toxic feminism is very, very off-putting to young men. And I know this is contrary to what a lot of people hear on college campuses. You have to assert your dominance. You have to kind of call your shot. That's fine. However, an attitude in the dating pool is that it can be very off-putting to young men that are already put down so much in our society. They're called toxically masculine. They're called, who needs men, the patriarchy. And so then they just largely disengage. Or they do even a worse thing, which is they get involved like, I'm just going to sleep with a bunch of women, but I'm not going to marry them, right? The problem is on both sides, in my personal opinion. And again, I think that Erica hit it perfectly. Last thing I'll say, and then we'll do some questions, is men want what they cannot have. Men will do anything to solve the problem of scarcity. Anything. And if men can get you quite easily, that is not an attractive quality to be able to have a man go on a journey with you. I'm just being very, very honest with you. And there's one thing that men want more than anything else, and it's not Bitcoin. You know what it is. And as women have not been saving themselves for marriage, and men too, in the last 30 or 40 years, we've seen marriage rates collapse. Marriage actually comes.
Okay. I don't really know if that's really the issue of that. Like, sexual partners for women, if they have more than 3, I think the divorce rate is supposedly like 60% or something. If they have 1, it's like 20% or something. Or 1 to 0, I think. Gordon has the supposed stats of that. But it's like I agree with most of what he's saying. I'm trying to think, was there an issue I had with anything? But no, I think that's good.
Before your kids. I know that's a provocative thing to say, but it's true. Your relationship with your kids is important.
Yes.
But it's not covenantal.
Right.
Your marriage is a covenant. Your relationship with your kids is an outgrowth of a covenant. They're under your stewardship, but covenantal relationships are ones that we saw with Abraham and David and Israel and, of course, Jesus. That idea of marriage being a covenant is a big, big deal. In fact, only marriage in the Bible is compared to Christ's relationship with the church.
We have been told that to be
Okay.
fully women, we have
the grifter. And I can say that with the facts that I found today. What I find funny is Kirk, what was he talking about? Oh, marriage and how it's a covenant. There is literally Ken Paxton getting divorced from his wife, the wife that is divorcing him because of an adulterous relationship that I guess he had in like 2018 or something. So like a long time ago. And she's now divorcing him like 6 years later. So one, she's a senator. So of course we're going to talk about the fact of whether or not women politicians should be a thing, which last week I kind of like hinted at it and stuff. But the one thing that I'd say from that is that she said she's divorcing her husband on biblical grounds. Oh, it's a covenant. You can't break the covenant unless it's adultery. Which is it, Kirk? Because evangelicals don't really have like to talk with, like as I had talked with just a Catholic one time about, because he talked about the difference between mainline and evangelical, because most Protestants fit in one of the two. Kirk is an evangelical. Well, the evangelicals have a bit of a trad view, but they're also okay with marriage being dissolved because of infidelity or abuse. Like they're okay with a divorce compared to the Catholics, where I know a lot of Catholics are trying to say like, oh, well, we got Catholic divorce, we have annulments. No. An annulment is saying you were never married. A divorce is saying we broke your marriage. Completely different. I understand the actions may seem very similar. It's not. You can get civilly divorced, but sacramentally, you're still together. Unless the church deems that your marriage was not a marriage because it has to fit certain criteria in order for that to be a marriage. But of course, you need to figure out, well, who bases that criteria? And of course, we're going to get into the Protestant Catholic debate. So, Kirk, what is he saying?
Jesus. The idea of marriage being a covenant is a big deal. In fact, only marriage in the Bible is compared to Christ's relationship with the church.
We have been told that to be fully women, we have to be more like men. And because men never have to carry children, then we should never have to carry children either.
Because men swindle from... because there are con men, there must be con women. I kind of forgot she was there. In all honesty, I forgot.
They told us that motherhood ultimately was a form of oppression, but they are wrong. The war on motherhood and children is a war on civilization itself, and abortion is its most brutal weapon. The truth is this: the hand that rocks the cradle rules the world.
I'm sorry, but that sounded a bit feministic, Lila. Oh, gosh, I can't believe... Sorry. Gosh. I still can't believe people are listening to her. Anyways. The hand that moves the cradle controls the world.
You have two beautiful daughters. What is some wisdom or something that you've told them their whole life growing up that you could share with the girls here?
Well, again, your parents are just trying to help you get through what they struggled in. So one of the things I've taught my girls is learn how to be your own best friend. How much do you love, support, forgive your friends? You give them the best advice. You're there for them. You encourage them, but yet you hold them accountable. You push them. Be that person for yourself, and you don't have to look outside for someone to give that to you. Give it to yourself, and be kind and loving and forgiving to yourself, but own and have the courage to right your wrongs and get back up and face life and become the better version of yourself than you were yesterday.
Beautiful.
Empathy.
Well, that was very feminine. It's a women's conference. What am I supposed to say? It wasn't very David Goggins like, have you moved? Nope, get off your ass then. So, oh gosh, the feminist.
Can also lead you in the wrong direction.
No
Here's
way.
how you know if your empathy is positive or if it has become toxic. 3 ways. Your empathy becomes toxic when it encourages you to validate lies, to affirm sin, or to support destructive policies. That is when your empathy has turned toxic. Toxic empathy is the primary tool of persuasion used by progressives to manipulate well-meaning Christians. They use toxic empathy by employing our language, our Bible verses, our concepts, and then...
So what she's basically saying is that women are more susceptible to feelings than facts, and that's why they shouldn't be able to vote. Yeah, that's totally what she's saying, right?
pervert them to morally extort us into adopting their position.
My goal here...
Oh. Moved on. Oh no, the other. Okay, you know what? I'll let Brett speak. I'll be nice to Brett.
is not to say that women can have it all or that you should have it all. I am not here to say that you need to chase being a wife and mother and find an amazing career and stay healthy and not eat seed oils and be engaged in politics and. That is really not reasonable. That's not the point. No one, neither men nor women, can ever have it all at once. And feminists often say that that is a singularly female issue. And they say, well, women are different because we have to balance everything. Men do as well. My husband's career is different now because he is prioritizing being a father. It's pretty great. In the same way that my career looks different. This idea of having it all was just another lie and fallacy that was presented to women decades ago, although funnily enough, their vision of having it all intentionally excluded motherhood. The woman who coined that term actually said, yeah, that doesn't really fit into my framework, so that was never honest or genuine from the start. It never included actually having it all. We literally can't have it all at one time, but we can have a lot of things. We can have an incredibly rich life and chase many different dreams and have various seasons of our lives where we are prioritizing and focusing on different things, as long as we are driven by a strong dedication to our values, and as long as we are honest with ourselves about the natural consequences and the trade-offs based on what we are prioritizing in that season of life. People will always have something.
Oh, that was a cut. She's doing good. Like, there hasn't been anything that's tripped up my triggers. And of course, the one girl that I think is the least non-feminist of them all is the one that's just like, she's speaking and I'm just like, it's noise.
To say about your life and your choices, and it is our job as individuals, especially young people, to learn how to navigate that noise. Because your life and your vision of what it means to have it all and what you want to prioritize and chasing your dreams, it does not need to fit into anyone else's box in order to be worthy. I mean, it doesn't need to look like what I'm choosing. It doesn't need to look like what your mother chose. It does not even need to look like what your best friend who is sitting next to you right now is choosing. And we have the freedom to make those decisions for ourselves. And so instead of getting online or getting up on stage and beating the drum and telling you that I know exactly what you should do and exactly what will be so productive and happy and healthy for you, and shame you for not being perfect and fitting into my worldview, I would rather give you the resources and the courage that you need to make healthy and happy and positive good decisions for your individual lives and your individual circumstances.
Oh, finally. Good grief. There was so much there. This is going to be fun. So, yeah, this is going to be fun. All right. So, Lila, or Nyla. I got close. Nyla Ray. You know what's? I still don't understand why Nyla Ray. I'm sorry, I said this another time. I don't know why Nyla Ray still has her porn name. Sorry, corn name. I don't know why she's got that still, because, like, okay, she got rid of the red hair, but it's like you're still using, like, one, she doesn't have her husband's name, so that's another thing. But she's Nyla Ray still. It's like Nyla Ray, former OF model, now selling an Anointed Pathway courses, which, funny enough, I'm thinking of buying one just so I can refute it, or go through it and just be like, this is the gayest course that I've taken, and I've taken a total of 0. I'm intrigued to see, like, what kind of dumbness this is. The one thing I have to say, hold on, let me go back to it, because there's something in it that I think is really funny. So if you go to the Anointed Pathway, which is her site, right? And of course, the homepage, the first picture is her. So just trying to say stuff there. Like, of course, the first page shows her looking into the distance, right? But it puts her there. But if you go to let's see. Decline all cookies, yes. If you go to courses, nope, that box doesn't work. You go to courses. So you go to available courses. There's $15 every month for one of these courses, except for From Lust to Life, 75-day corn-free course. It's $50 every month, and it's a 7-week course, which means you're paying $100 to do the course, essentially. Now, I don't know if you can get out and in at the same, like, I don't know. Is it a 75-day course that you can do in 1 month, or is it a 75-day and they lock you in that 75 days? But there's, living a life that honors God, discovering your purpose, 15. It's 4 weeks. So that's a $15 course. Overcoming anxiety and fear. It's a 4-week course. Oh, cool. Great. Building a stronger marriage. It's a 6 weeks course for 15 again. Living with gratitude, a 21-day. So it's a 15. Overcoming loneliness. It's a 4-week course. So you're spending like 15 every month, except for walking in forgiveness, letting go of bitterness, is a 4-week course for only $15, a one-time payment. Overcoming addiction. It's 15 every month, but it's an 8-week course, which means you're paying $30. There's a 6-week course for healing from past hurts, 15 every month. We're seeing a very recurring 15. Managing stress, finding rest in God's presence, has some weeks. 15 every month for a 21-day course of deepening your prayer life. Building healthy friendships, 15 every month for a 4-week course, which is basically another $15 being spent. 15 every month. This 4-week course helps you break from negative self-talk. And financial freedom, stewarding God's resources wisely. There's a joke that I could throw to her, but I'm not going to say it. It's a 4-week course. Now, there's an enroll button on both of these. Hold on, I'm going to hit the bottom ones. Where am I going? Oh, I have to create an account to get into this. Yeah, I'll do that later. But again, I don't have a ministry, says the girl with online courses. Even if it is her man's, it's like, that's so weird to have. Okay. What is Nyla going to say? I've been saying Lila a lot tonight, so to be fair. We got 5 more minutes, and then honestly, I'll probably ask chats, and then we'll probably be done. That's all I really planned tonight, so unless anyone has anything.
Started making crazy amounts of money, showing my body online and exploiting myself. It's truly online prostitution. And then my family completely disowned me, like my mom, all my siblings. My dad was the only one that hung on, but for a really bad reason. He was just like begging me for like money all the time. So that was the only relationship.
Her dad is a pastor. I'm pretty sure. Hold on, I'm gonna type this up. Her dad's a pastor. Her dad is legitimately, I think, a pastor. That's bad. Pastor's child turns OF model, turns from sin to something. Where's a wiki? Because I don't. I don't want to go into something. Just she's 26. Dang, she's like in my age range. Early life, hold on, early life check. Her father, who serves as a pastor. Gosh, that's wow. Just out of curiosity, Nyla Ray, real name is Nyla Ray. Oh. Nope, it's Nyla something. Because she's married, but of course she can't, not be Nyla Ray anymore. She can't take her husband's name because, that would just be horrible. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything. It's currently not married and does not have a husband. Well, she does now, but okay, so this is old, but yeah, her father's a pastor. Wow. This is where I say priest taking the vow of poverty is
relationship I had with my father was him supporting me doing porn online and then taking my money.
And since then, you've had this come to Jesus moment where now you are more aligned with your faith. Yep. And walk us through, what was your breaking point? The steps you took to come out of such a toxic environment, because you were obviously sold an idea that really ended up being something that it's just completely different than.
Absolutely. Like the whole girlfriend experience is what OnlyFans loves to sell, is that, you're talking to your dream girl. It's like the girl next door. It's not that at all. You're literally talking to a middle-aged man on a computer. Like, that is your chatters. So it's such a lie. And that is what sin is. It is dark and it's a lie and it hides.
But what clicked for you? What was your turning point, essentially?
So I actually met my husband now. His name is Jordan. Truly the love of my life.
Sorry, I'm looking at something else. It seems like no one has taken her courses and made a YouTube video about it. But I love my husband so much. He's so great. Will you take his last name? Hell nah.
Encouraged me. Like, when I first met him, this man was talking so highly about who Christ is and showed that love. And in 5 years, I hadn't had one Christian reach out to me while I was on OnlyFans doing what I was doing.
How do I explain that if you had a Christian message you on OnlyFans, there's kind of a big problem? Just saying. Like, if no one reached out to me on OnlyFans. Yeah, because it's OnlyFans. What were we supposed to do? Okay, sorry. It's just like, I don't get that.
To show the love of Christ in my life, and he did. He treated me with so much respect and God's love. He was just my friend for the longest time until we ended up getting married after I got off of OnlyFans. But I was so intrigued by how this man loved God with everything inside of him. And it encouraged me so much, and I stopped doing OnlyFans, gave my life to God, deleted my OnlyFans, took off every promiscuous post off my Instagram, Facebook. I deleted my entire Twitter. And I was
okay. Yeah. I deleted all the bad tweets and I deleted all the bad Instagram posts. Says the girl that literally made cinnamon rolls and made a face. Like, girl. Really? Oh, I don't make that stuff anymore. Girl, you got really close to it. Who grabs a rolling pin and starts, like, I'm not dirty, but, like, even I have to admit that, like, I'm pretty sure my dog would know what the hell that, the grabbing the rolling pin and sliding it up and down. Oh, it's got to get nice and firm. Yeah, I'm sure that's what the objective was, to be fair.
so happy.
And that, ladies.
We substituted one grifter for another. And that, ladies, is why you can be worth $400,000 when you do nothing for the pro-life cause except be a pretty woman with 3 kids that daycare is taking care of. Well, I assume daycare.
It's how we win. Teaching the next generation that we are all human and that we are all made in God's image. We know in this room that abortion is not health care, that abortion is lethal violence against our most vulnerable children. When I was starting live action in high school, I first became aware of the nonstop rhetoric around abortion. You all, I'm sure, have heard it. The media, academia, politicians tell us that abortion is a women's right. Abortion is liberation. The modern feminists today say that abortion is empowerment. Entire supposedly pro-women's organizations, feminist organizations, are focusing their political activism today on abortion on demand up until birth without apology. But this wasn't the vision of the first feminists, the early suffragettes.
I don't know if I can take that garbage. I've already gone through enough tonight. Do I have to go through it? this is not the goal, the first subject. No, this was Endgame, woman. They wanted to destroy the domestic church. It's been done. We're getting it back. This is not working anymore. Take your boomer crap to where it belongs, in a trash bin. No offense to the boomers.
First feminists of the early 19th and 20th century valued.
They wanted to vote and to take the place of their family. Oh gosh, I can't even remember the stuff in Gordon's book. But this was always the goal. Like, the feminism that you see today is because of the first wave. Like, you're trying to salvage something that is not salvageable, woman.
Women, children, motherhood, marriage, and men. They looked nothing like the feminists of today. They fought for the dignity and the voice of women in politics and culture. A lot of you here are exercising your right to vote. You're exercising your right to speak. But they...
Sorry, I just threw up metaphorically. Not because of the speaking. No, because they vote. Like, again, the thing that I say about getting rid of the 19th is then it just prioritizes family units, because now you can only vote via family. That's it. Everything else is... It doesn't matter. It's the man votes for the family. He doesn't vote for himself. He votes for the family, which is how he should be voting anyways, which is honestly how most of us do anyways. So we're not changing much. We're just telling women to align with your man, because you should. Different story.
Did not fight for the destruction of womanhood itself, as modern day feminists often do. The early feminist legacy has been hijacked.
You need to...
The early of them have been hijacked. No, I don't think so, Lila. I don't think so. Most of us guys don't want to deal with a feminist in one form or any. Third, first, or zero. We want you in the kitchen. We need you baking pies or cakes or dinner. I'm hungry.
Go viral for this on Instagram. You're falling behind. Whenever you feel that, I want you to say out loud, I don't care if you're looking at a mirror. I don't care if you're writing it down.
Sorry, this is just feminine stuff again. Guy, when a guy looks in the mirror and he's like, I'm not good enough, it's not, you are brave. It is literally like, yeah, I know. Let's get this, S done. Like, we are like, we're like pumping ourselves up in like the most like destructive manner. And then women are like, you are appreciated. You are loved. You are a beautiful creature. As she has like one eye gone and like her jaw is.
I want you to say, I am not behind. I am becoming. What
does that even mean? I am becoming. I am becoming. I can't even finish it without laughing. I'm actually crying. Damn. Sorry. Oh gosh. I am becoming. Oh gosh. Woman. That was funny. I am becoming. Okay. There's only a minute left. Come on, bro.
Do not feel like you're running out of time. The enemy loves to make you feel like you're running out of time, but you can always have a career. It is not going anywhere. LLCs will always be able to be created
by men.
But children, family, your husband, marriages, that is not a renewable resource. That is not. Don't delay the eternal for temporary, and do not sacrifice the sacred for the secular. It is not worth it.
What advice would you...
This coming from probably the same people who would agree with IVF and like President Trump with the process. Oh, we need more births. Yeah, you know why we don't have enough births is because we have women focusing on being men. And I don't even mean in a trans way. I mean in a feminist way. It's like, you know why you need IVF? Because none of you broads are able to have a kid because you're too You were too focused on getting that bag that you're now like 35, 6. I gotta move it up a bit. 30. Technically, I guess it's what, like 43, and then you all go into menopause or something of that ilk.
You give to young ladies where they are much more motivated than their.
Oh wait, okay. I accidentally added, I guess, one that I shouldn't have.
Chill and is like, I'm fine with, not going any further than.
Did I add this one?
Level that I'm at, while the woman is aspiring to be more and more and more. So then you become uneven and unequally yoked.
Okay, yeah, that's it. Okay, I guess I accidentally added a new one in the compiler or something. Ow. But yeah, so that does raw impressions. Oh, I forgot the intro for that. You're all you're all are welcome for that. What are you meaning by that, John? What is what? What is what about? How long ago was this? Oh, a minute ago. What's a what about? Is it the I'm becoming line? While we wait for John, if he does answer that. Oh, wait. I don't know. Okay, that's fine. But yeah. So honestly, that is all I have really tonight, because I knew I thought I'd have more for the pro-life stuff, but I kind of was I couldn't think of anything more. That's kind of how my brain works occasionally. It's like I don't have everything line up. But yeah, that was my first two thoughts, of that it was definitely going to be a concession, and then it was going to be a concession that we were going to be taking, and then and then of course the Republicans weren't going to do squat. But Planned Parenthood. Oh no, did I do something dumb? Please say I did not. No, it's planned. What are you looking at, bro? What do you mean Planned Parenthood? Where is Planned Parenthood coming into clutch? I'm not seeing Planned Parenthood. YouTube says Planned Parenthood. So where am I getting Planned? Oh, Planned Parenthood. What is Planned Parenthood? Oh, what is Planned Parenthood? It is a supposed health care for the women. It is but more than likely the abortion centers, basically. Supposedly, though, when I was doing my research, the Planned Parenthood only does 3% of abortions. But I thought Abby Johnson says that that's a lie. I didn't look into that one as much because it wasn't necessary to my research, but I thought there was something about that. But yeah, but Planned Parenthood was defunded of some money, like what, a week ago? Yeah, a week ago, right? Straight up 1 week. Is there anything that I can talk about on Twitter yet? Whoa, what's with this Ohio thing? Oh, talking about Vivek. Oh, I meant to talk about that. Oh, I meant to thank you, Twitter, for coming in clutch. I meant to talk about that before. I meant to talk about Vivek. You know how, because I was ragging on Lament of a Warden, right? Because like you have people like Nick, who are Nick Fuente. I heard that I couldn't even say his name at one point. Although I wonder if Elisha Schaefer was lying to me. But Nick, who of course is the Friedis. He was talking a lot of smack about Vivek taking the Ohio governor slot. And the thing that I wrote later, because like this is going in line with kind of the duty, it's like, who's gonna compete against Vivek? Who honestly compete against him? Now, true, what you would have to be what? What do you need for Ohio governor? What's the let me just battlepedia this thing again. What do you need? What's like the stuff? What do you need? DeWine. Ugh. So you have to be at least 18. Whoa, that's young. That's young. A resident of the state and a U.S. citizen. Holy crap. I can be governor. I just have to move. Wow. That's like, holy crap. What's Oklahoma like? It can't be that easy. It literally does not have that many. It can't. I refuse that is the case. There's got to be like a different age gap here. It's got to be like 35 or something. It can't be that easy. Okay. Yeah. It's a little harder. In Oklahoma, you have to be a citizen of the United States and at least 31 and a resident of Oklahoma for at least 10 years. For governor of Ohio, you just have to be 18 and a resident and a citizen, which is like the easiest thing. A candidate for the governor's office may not hold any congressional or federal office or any other office. Okay, that's fine. That's actually funny. Wow. Ohio's governor is like the easiest thing to, but that has hardly anything to touch. Like 18, for crying out loud, you could have a Zoomer get in there. Like someone who just graduated college can become governor of Ohio. Like if any Zoomer who wants to go after Vivek, run for office, take him out. I think that would be great. Take out Vivek. Like, cause like Nick wants to talk big smack about taking on Vivek. If he really wants to take him on, well, to be fair, Nick can move to Ohio and really take him on. And I mean that in the real ringer of politics. No smacking around here. So, yeah. Ow. My butts are on fire. But yep. But I think that will do me to tonight. Yeah, we talked about Planned Parenthood and how we are going to be funding Planned Parenthood again next year. What else we talked about? We talked about masculine men not actually being masculine, and then of course we made fun of a women conference as a dude because it's funny that way. I am becoming, and that's a funny line. What the crap? Oh, that's a shadow. Okay. I was like, what the? There's no way I hurt myself that much. Yeah. So, but yeah, I think that will do me for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming in to an I wouldn't say impromptu, but a late stream. Yesterday I kind of had sorry, hold on. Sorry. My butt cheeks are clenched, not because not because they're clenched on my behalf. They're clenched because they've just been in a chair. But yesterday I kind of had things out of whack, and so I had to prep a bit more for this, and so yeah, and then I didn't know if I'd be streaming then. So thankfully everyone can be here tonight. Friday's actually been doing really good. Maybe I should just stick on it Friday. That would give me then the entire week to deal with everything. And then I could make Wednesday some like pre-recorded something or whatever. But yeah, I will say this, everyone, again, as the YouTuber, outro, throw me a like. If you're going to throw me a dislike, throw me a comment and tell me why. Follow me on my YouTube, Twitter, Rumble. That's it. I have an Instagram too, but I don't use that as frequently. So, but help me out there. Give me some numbers. Let me then say I have this many people. It helps me out if I went to a sponsor. But yeah, So I should be streaming next Thursday, although with what happened here, I'm honestly considering doing it Friday because of that. Because of tonight. Because I will tell you all, this is honestly, I think, the most people I've had on a live stream and during one day. Although I wish the 22 of you that are on Twitter, I wish you moved to YouTube, but I'm okay with that. If you don't want to do it on YouTube, that's fine with me. It's just the monetization there, because I think I'm on like, I need 3,000 hours and I'm on like 200 or 300, so it's like I'm only 10% there. But if you're on Twitter, if you could definitely go into my profile and hit the sub, that would help me out, because I need like 500 subs too. So that would help me out, especially if I don't win. Again, this is kind of a part-time gig, so in that way. I think that's it though. Yeah, gaming streams, again, still waiting on crap to get delivered. I might do 10 dates, honestly. Like, I'm kind of in like, I kind of need to do the work, but I'm also like, I'm kind of tired and I really don't want to do the work. Oh, I have to do that. Sorry. I do have to do a little work tonight, but I don't know how I'm going to do that because my thing keeps overheating, but we'll figure something out. Other than that, I'm trying to think. I don't think there's anything else, unless anyone has anything that they totally need to be like, yell at me. But yeah, I guess the last thing, I will stream for one more week, potentiality. I'm pretty sure I'm going to talk about the Oklahoma State question 863, I think it is. Next week, I'm going to talk about it and talk about why it's bad, because Gettner Drummond, our favorite friend, he's wanting to pass it, and that's a bad thing. Whatever he wants is a bad thing. But yeah, I'll talk about that next week, and then whatever else is kind of like supplemental is just kind of whatever happens during the week. Other than that, yeah, I'll stream one time Thursday, and then for like the rest of the month, I'm gonna be out. July is kind of a weird month for me because I'm gonna be at the Catholic Creators Conference in about 2 weeks or so. So I'll be in Steubenville, Ohio, with a bunch of other creators that are Catholic as well. That's weird. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a fun time. But yeah, yeah, that's it. So thank you all for watching the stream, though. If you liked what you were hearing, again, let me know. Give me some form of verification of that way. Simple heart will do. You don't have to say anything. You just have to at least notify in some variation. I know you watched, and I'm thankful for that. But if you could give me some, like, in YouTube, it's like if you get a interaction, it tends to like multiply that interaction to others. So, but again, it's up to you. If you want to, please do. If not, cool. But yeah, I think that's it. So yeah, and now I'll leave that. I'll DM them. So good night, everyone. Have a good Friday night. It is 12 where I am, so some of you can still have days. Some of you are still having time off. But yeah,